You are listening to the Doc Malik podcast. This show is 100% independent and fully funded by listeners like yourself. So, if you wish to support Ahmad in all that he is doing, then please subscribe to his channel on Spotify or his Substack. Or simply buy him a coffee with a one-off donation, links to which can be found at docmalik.com. Now, let's get on with the show.
I think it's nice. Yeah. I think it's like, oh, look at this, look. So there you go. I picked you up. I saw your luscious locks walking into the ladies' toilet, and I was
ladies' toilets. You can feel free to identify as a woman if you want to use the ladies' toilets, which I chose to do.
Do you know what? Why not?
It's a bonus, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You might as well use the woke agenda against them.
Mate, how you doing?
I'm alright, yeah. I had a bit of a busy day yesterday, but I'm good.
Isn't it horrible, grey, wet,
what, London?
miserable?
England, yeah.
Look.
It's not Malaga.
Is that where you live?
Yeah.
Oh man, is it really nice there?
Yeah, special.
Sunshine all the time, no chemtrails?
Nah, there's still a bit of spray fever, but it's not as nowhere near as persistent and grey as this. Like, I mean, we have pretty much every day there's sun.
Wow. And I don't know about you, but like, oh God, I do remember what it was like when it hits your skin and your skin tingles with that heat.
Yeah.
You just feel alive.
Yeah.
You know, and your mood, like with this weather, my mood is just, it's oppressive.
Yeah.
Just sits on you.
It's literally, for me, I feel like it's like I charge in the sun. I charge up.
So what do you do in Malaga? Like, what do you do for a living?
What do I do for a living? That's a good question. Well, I was in the film industry for 20 years, in various different departments, from acting, location manager, producer, writer, and then as things were starting to really take off...
An artistic fellow?
Yeah. Always have been, really.
You should be in the woke category then.
No, not really.
You're quite exceptional then.
Yeah, I'm one of the... I mean, I've got a very, very colourful past. And the film industry actually saved me because I was getting into a lot of trouble. And then one of my friends gave me an opportunity, and it just sort of really opened lots of doors. And
trouble as in like with the law?
Yeah.
Criminal?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's colourful.
Yeah. I come from a very like a family full of, I would say, dysfunction is the best label to give it.
Danny, don't we all?
Yeah, of course. Yes,
one thing
absolutely.
I realised is, like,
absolutely,
my family was dysfunctional when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I there's dysfunction all around me. I used to think it was just a Pakistani phenomenon. I was like, what is it with us as Pakistani families? Pakistani drama. Why can't we just be like the straight, normal white kids? Like, and then I grew up.
Yeah, and then you realise it's the same for everyone. It's just relative, isn't it? That's what it is. It's all relative.
It's all relative.
So, then I got into the film industry, and then I enjoyed it, actually, because I've always been someone, even like, I come from like working class council estates, so there was never much emphasis on school, there was never much emphasis on education, apart from my mum. My mum tried to push me, because I think she realised I was quite bright.
When education actually mattered.
Yeah, I mean, even for me, like, I left school at 14. You know, I always saw through it. I was I could never understand why I was listening to these pricks. I was like, why are they telling me what to do? I could never understand that. You know?
Mate, I had this conversation with my 7-year-old yesterday. Yes. Actually, sorry, she's just turned 8. And she was like, Dad, I hate school. You know, the teachers, they're just so rude. Like, I don't know what a fact box is. They were talking about fact boxes. I can't hear. I'm right at the back of the class. I said, excuse me, miss, what's a fact box? And she goes, oh, were you not paying attention? And I'm like, duh, you stupid rude person. I can't hear it. And I'm trying to understand. Like, Dad, why are they so rude? Yeah. And what did, like, she's 8.
Yeah.
She's got a point.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, we're already breaking a lot of those cycles of external governance. And our kids, they're going to be something different. You know, like my kids are reminded, but I say to them, who's the boss? Who's the boss? And they go, we're the boss. And I said, you fucking remember that. You're the boss. And even for me, you know, even I want them to challenge me and my parenting all the time, which they do. And sometimes it's a little bit like, here's a break.
Do you know what? Dude, 100%.
Just listen to me.
Danny, honestly, you reap what you sow. Like, sometimes I think, why the fuck don't they just listen to me? Like, why are they arguing back and questioning everything? And then I go, yeah, well, I did ask them to be like this. Yeah, it's a bit hot, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit hot.
I was like, I did ask them to be like this. So anyway, go back to it. What are you doing in Malaga? How'd you make a living?
Yeah, so when the pandemic...
I want to move to Malaga.
Yeah? When the pandemic happened, me and my wife at that time, we just had the twins, and they were 2, and it was very much, we had a comfortable life, you know. I was very well paid in the industry. I was on the sort of like management level and stuff, so I was always looked after. And I had 2 massive contracts, really just about to, I think, put me in the big league, and then they fell through because of the pandemic. And so I lost all my contracts, and then I couldn't travel either because I was commuting from Belgium to London.
Right.
And because my wife's Belgian. And then all of a sudden everything just fell away. We lost our car, our house, everything. And we went to moved in with our friends. And then we ended up in a little community project in the south of Belgium, which was more like a dictatorship. And we sort of said, let's go and do our own thing. Where do you want to go? Let's go and do it now. Now we're uncomfortable. Now this is the time to make the leap. So we just, we put all our stuff in a van and got that sent to Spain, and then we lived in a tent, in a bell tent for 2.5 months with a heavily pregnant woman, twin girls and a dog. And we lived in a tent with a little gas cooker for quite a while.
Oh, dude, like from rags to riches to rags again.
Yeah. And then this project, my little boy was born on December the 17th in 2021 in our yurt, just me and my missus, no hospitals, no midwives, nothing.
Shut up.
Yeah.
You delivered the baby?
Yeah. I was the midwife. Fucking weird looking midwife, wasn't I?
Dude, seriously, do you identify as a midwife as well? Of course you can use the ladies' toilet. Jeez Louise. Oh my god, oh my god, have you ever seen anything like this before? Like,
No.
were you nervous?
Yeah,
what
I was,
if something went wrong?
I was nervous, yeah, very nervous. But my wife is like, she's cool hand Luke.
She's a warrior.
Oh, different level.
Sounds like my wife.
She's got like an innate like wisdom strength, you know, like an old strength. So, what's going on down there? Fucking Voldemort walking down the road. See that in the big gown?
Is he? So basically, my wife delivered 2 of her kids in that house as well. Yeah, but we had a midwife.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So, what made you do that? Respect is what I'm trying to say.
We wanted to try and do it with the twins as much as we could, but we found out in Belgium it was actually illegal, whatever that means, to be able, because they believe that there's complications. So they wouldn't allow us to do it, and then we fell into the fear paradigm because we had a very like frantic, you know, like one of these gynecologists who was like mad, you know, full of fear.
Yeah.
And the fear was palpable and it overtook us. So when we just done what she told us to do, and my wife ended up having a cortisone injection, which they said would mature the baby's lungs if they were born early, which is all a load of bollocks.
It is.
And so then she went into shock, and they had to give her antibiotics, and the babies were delivered 7.5 weeks early, like this small, straight away.
Your babies?
Yeah. Straight into fucking like ICU, into little chambers, fucking.
So you delivered at home?
No, we delivered them in the hospital. We had to. But
Oh,
that was the first. That was the twins' birth.
Okay, the first. Okay.
So the reason we wanted to just completely transmute all of that memory and heal it with our little boy. So that was the way we just said like no.
So that's even more powerful. That actually you had a really bad experience and it was scary and nerve-wracking. And instead of going, oh well, we'll go to the hospital. There's so much fear amongst like home births. You went, no, we're still going to dive into that.
Yeah.
And it's the funny thing is, like, aren't we here after millions of years? Like, there weren't hospitals.
It's the naturalest thing in the world. It's such a crazy thing.
And
Anyone should
beautiful?
get involved. Oh, dude.
And the key thing I think, and you know, I shouldn't really talk too much about it because I'm a guy, but I think it's all about being relaxed.
Yeah.
And the women feeling empowered and in control.
Yeah.
And they kind of take that away from the hospital, the clinical lighting.
By design.
You know, shoving your hand up there, checking.
All by design.
It's violation, stress.
I believe that's the most poignant moment where all of our power is handed over.
Yeah, I think so. The birthing as like a ship.
Yeah. And then you bring into the whole, you know, like the maritime law and stuff into it as well. And you're like, oh my God, yeah. Like, if it's just all
Dude, listen,
dodge.
if I'm looking at you very closely, I'm really admiring your beard. So I've just grown this in the last few weeks. I'm just figuring out what to do with the beard, to go this way, that way, goatee.
I just had a guy on the train say the same thing.
What?
I love your look, man. You got a really strong beard.
That's it.
And I was like, well, you know, all the great ones did.
Yeah, I think a beard just gives you strength. It's a bit weird.
I feel so.
Like strength of character.
Yeah, I feel so. Yeah, there's something about it. If you look back at it, like.
But I'm the opposite to you, look, see.
Oh yeah.
I've got balance, I would say. So you've got imbalance. You've got hair on top and hair in the beard.
Well, I identify as a midwife, a curly-haired midwife.
Listen, should we go inside?
Yeah, let's go inside. Yeah.
Right, wonderful. Anyway, so I was saying, like, you know, when I hit the record button, like, dude, it's so weird. Like, I've had guests come quite a long way. We have a really nice chat, like we did in the car, in the house, and then hit the record button, and they completely change. And it's like, what happened? Like, what happened? And then afterwards, I'm like, guys, I can't publish that. Like, you're too wooden, you're too reserved, too much like an interview. Like, where was you that I was just talking to?
Yeah.
But you're not going to do that.
I can't do that. I wish I could. I wish I could censor myself a little bit and play it down, but it doesn't seem to happen.
I like that about you. I know. I follow you on Instagram, which is how I found you.
Yeah.
I find the best people on Instagram, like Danny, Scott Reed, James Cooper, you know, Wandering Heels, Rebecca Archer. You know, I my first love was Instagram because as a surgeon, I used to publish all my stuff on Instagram. And I would say to people, this is what my life is like as a surgeon. This is me mopping the floor. This is me treating this condition. If you got a bunion, this is what to think about. You know, it's just a way of me connecting with the world and people building trust. And then it transmuted from London foot and ankle surgeon to Doc Ahmad Malik. Here we are. And here you are.
Here I am.
Right. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about, there's so much.
What do you want to talk about?
Everything that's wrong in this world.
Oof. That is a big topic. Where do you want to fucking start?
What about the UK? Why did you leave?
Well, I left a long time ago, right? I left, 6 years ago now. Longer, 7 years ago now. And for me, it was me and my wife were now deciding, look, we want to have children together. This ain't the place to bring them up.
Why not?
I was brought up in working class council estates in East London. You know, like that is, for me, it's not the best place.
But you didn't have to do that again. Are there other parts of England and Britain that you could have moved to?
Yeah, but I suppose that my job wasn't well paid enough for me to live where I would like to have lived. And then I had to be in London because I was in the film industry. That's where most of the shoots were taking place. So then when we realised that we could live in Kortrijk, which is where my wife's from, which is like super safe, super clean.
Belgium?
Yeah. Like in the Flanders part, West Flemish. Beautiful. And then I could commute from there. Well, from Lille, which is a 20-minute drive, straight into St Pancras in an hour and a half.
Wow.
And then I get my hour back because I'm coming back from Europe. So it was like fucking Doctor Who. You know? Like, I was arriving before everyone else. I was like, where are you? Like, people were going, oh, it was mad on the M25 today. I said, I've just come from fucking France. I used to do it all the time. And it was like super, super easy. And it just to me, it was like the answer. Because look, I was brought up in a place which was very, very beautiful. Very dynamic, very textured, like real people. But it was hard. It was hard.
East End, London, Cockney.
Yeah, hard, mate. You know, like we were taught, like everyone was just. I saw so much violence when I was a kid, you know, and so much drug abuse, so much alcohol abuse, and I thought I can't let that cycle continue with my kids. I can't. I have to step away from the drama. So, and I mean, my family's part of that drama, isn't it? So, like, I was get away from them cunts.
We're talking about drama, and I was saying when I was growing up, all this Pakistani drama. Yeah. But the reality is, when you're reminding me, when I grew up, Drummoyne, next to Ibrox and Govan, dude, it was hard.
Rabsy Nesbitt country.
Very much so. Like, seriously. Like, I remember, you know, in primary 2, I think it was, I won a competition to a poster, Don't Do Drugs. And I remember the constable coming around saying, like, the average guy lives to the age of 40, either dies of heroin addiction or alcoholism. Just think about that, 40. I'm 49 now. 40, they were dead. And they're just, you know, broken homes, drug addiction. I mean, I found out my primary school's closed down, my secondary school's closed down, everything's closed down. But it was rough growing up, you know, and like you said, a lot of drama. And I look at where I live now. This is Roald Dahl country, by the way. Do you know that? The guy, I mean, I've heard not so great things about him.
No, he's a nonce, isn't he?
Yeah. But he lived just up the road, and he wrote about all the, you know, pheasants and all that kind of stuff, all this neck of the woods. And it's fun. Exactly. I don't know about you, but I was reading those books as kids. But I was surrounded by...
the champion of the world.
Yes! I'm so glad you met... That's the one. So when I read that, I'd be reading in my bed about pheasants. I'd be like, what is a pheasant? What the woods? Because I'd look out and it's just a concrete jungle. Like, you know, derelict post-industrial wasteland. And I'm like, this. And now I look at my kids growing up and they're like, oh, Dad, look, there's a monk jack. Oh, look, Dad, there's and it's just normal for them. And I'm like, wow, that dreamlike thing that I was reading about as a kid, that is my children's reality. They have no idea about heroin addiction and alcoholism. But don't you think a little bit of trauma actually builds resilience and toughness in you? And I worry that my kids are too soft.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
If you're honest with them, you know, like my kids the other day, they were saying something, I can't remember what it was, they were moaning about something. And I just said, look, do you know, like, people don't have what you've got in this world. And they said, like, what do you mean, Papa? And they're only young, right? They're only 6. So I said, come here. And I got on YouTube and I just started showing them like real stuff that's going on in the world. Famine, starvation, war. Yeah. And not too much, you know, but just enough for them to sort of go, they were going, well, Papa, is that real? And I said, yeah, these are real people with real lives. Like, you're sorted, mate. I said, you've got such a comfortable existence. So to be able to give them that idea of the spectrum, I think's enough. You know, it's not like I'm sugarcoating it and we're putting them up, wrapping them up in cotton wool. You know, the whole world's beautiful. I tell them there's bad people in this world. You know, there's real bad people in this world. Mate, so I think they get it. You know,
you're just like me.
What star sign are you?
This is hilarious. Leo.
Are you Leo? Yeah.
So basically, I do the same. They're complaining about God knows what. Oh, Daddy. Oh, you never got me a present. I'm like, present. I used to get a present twice a year, Christmas and my birthday. Like, what the heck? You know what? Just because we go to the supermarket and you see a bit of Lego, I'm not going to buy it for you because you want it. It doesn't work like that, right? And even then, you get presents a lot more than I could ever imagine, ever, right? So, and look at these people, and I pull out my phone, and this is what I mean. Social media and internet, there are advantages.
Oh, of course.
Pull it up and go, look at these kids.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I don't show what's going on in Gaza, and I don't show the kids with brains falling out, but I show them the famine and the deprived homeless kids on the streets, and I go, look at that. Yeah. They got no parents, and then they go quiet and go, oh no, can we see more pictures? I'm like, that's enough now.
Yeah. I mean, we're one of the little towns where we live. There's a lot of homelessness there. And I always say to them, they said, Papa, why is he living on the street? I said, because that's the way the world is. I said, like, the world's unfair to a lot of people. I said, so your situation, I said, you've done all right, so you should be very grateful about that. And gratitude is one of the most powerful vibrations we can roll with,
Yeah.
So it's like, if I can instill that in them, because a lot of the time, honestly, like I felt victimised as a kid. I felt like the injustice I felt about the world when I looked around. I was like, why can't I have that? Why can't I go on the school trips? Why can't I go on the school holidays?
So much so.
Yeah, my missus used to say, my missus now, she says to me like, yeah, we went to this skiing holiday. Did you go skiing? I said, you mad?
Oh my God.
Fucking Butlins if I was lucky.
Oh my God. I can't believe you're giving that example. This is oh my God, the parallels are too much. Because in some respects, it was worse when I went from primary school to secondary school, because in primary school, we were the well-off kids. We were the kids where dad's doing his market and his shoe shop were doing quite well, but we were poor, but we were like, the well-off poor compared to the
upper working class.
Yeah. And then we went to the posh end of Glasgow, and like they were all like going off on ski holidays. Oh, we went to Chamonix over the winter, and I'll be like, what the?
What is that?
Like what the fuck? How do you Chamonix? What? And it's like, it was just like it was completely different. And now we were like at the bottom, and everyone had fancy cars, and we were crappy car, and everyone had great clothes, and we were wearing hand-me-downs, school uniforms. Suddenly it was like I preferred it when I was like, in the other school, and I was the kid with the other one or two kids who over like January was at school alone because everyone else went off on the ski holiday. I never once went on a ski holiday, and I hate to say this, but it kind of created a kind of chip on your shoulder. You're like, why don't I have that?
Yeah.
Why can't I have that? Yeah. And the one time then you do go on holiday, it's not to Malaga or Disney like everyone else was going to. It was like, yeah, where'd you go? Oh, yeah, I went to Pakistan where there's the toilet's a hole in the ground and there's mosquitoes and there's electricity cutouts. And did you do sightseeing? No, I went to see these uncles and aunts who I didn't even know. Like, that was my holiday.
And it dull.
Yeah, it dull. Yeah, so yeah, very similar.
But it's what builds you, isn't it? That's one of the reasons I am like I am. And so I always look back at it. And I mean, in a sense of like, I look back at it with like having had years of therapy, traditional therapy, plant medicine therapy, whatever, And so it's not like I have tried to change that or transmute it or heal that. But I'm also very, very proud of that. I know that he's like giving me that swagger and that fucking resilience and that don't fuck with me attitude,
Yeah.
Everyone needs a bit of that.
Yeah, 100%. It's so funny you said the plant medicine. So I took plant medicine in December.
Oh, yeah?
And so the funny thing is...
Ayahuasca, yeah?
No, psilocybin.
Oh yeah.
So I've never, ever drunk or taken drugs or smoked ever.
What's wrong with you?
Like just super clean, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, my mate Josh Parker, shout out to him, a semi-professional football player now, former patient of mine. He goes, Doc. It's his fault that this is called Doc Malik podcast because surgeons are normally misters.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, he just called me Doc the whole time.
Yeah, but I love that. I call you Doc as well.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I love it too. And he used to call me Doc all the time. And about 6 months ago, he went, Doc, I want you to come on my retreat, you know, get some plant medicine. I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. I thought it was ayahuasca. I didn't check. I was like, and I chickened out. Then 3 months ago, he went, come on, Doc. And I love him so much. I went, all right. So I went on a hero massive trip, 7 hours in December, this beautiful retreat. And it's so funny, dude. I went in there with this really arrogant attitude. I was like, all these people are fucked up. They've all got trauma. I'm in a good place in my life. Dude, oh my God, I cry like a baby.
Sobbing.
Beautiful. Healed my inner child.
Beautiful.
It was just beautiful. And it's funny, in that state, I was like, this voice was like, you're going to be the healer. So I'm running my own retreat in April.
Oh yeah?
And then in October with Josh, yeah. So it's going to be UK in April and Morocco in October.
So you are a doc.
Yeah, because it's part of the healing.
It is, yeah.
So, you know, why did you take ayahuasca and what was your experience?
Well, like I said, I'd gone through. I got into trouble when I was 19, 20. It wasn't the first time, quite frequent. And I had this. It was like a court order that I had to go and do community service, or I had to go and do X amount of some kind of anger management counselling. And I was like, well, I'm just going to go and see the counsellor and blag her, you know, for a few weeks. And I actually like uncovered stuff. I started to get a few mechanisms, a few tools available to me that made me understand how I didn't have to be acting out of this, what I would call ancestral programming.
Yeah.
And then that led on to lots of other different types of therapy. And then I was just like, even as a young man, I was still getting into trouble. I was still hanging around with a bunch of fucking hoodlums. But I had like this different, I read so much all the time I was reading. And it gave me this sort of like thirst for self-inquiry. And then I hit a bit of a low point of depression, I think, when I was taking a lot of drugs at the time in the film industry. And then I had a 7-year relationship with this lady, and it was coming to an end. And it felt very, very dark for me that time, you know. So I fucked off to Thailand, and I spent a year in Thailand in a hut on my own, just writing and crying. And then I came back, and I was sort of like very much like, right, I need to get into the depths of this, the root of this. And then after a lot of research, I looked into it, and ayahuasca seemed to be the way forward.
I don't like the idea of purging.
Oh, mate, I tell you what,
I do not want to shit my pants. I mean, that just terrifies me.
Do you know what they do? Right? One of the things is first and foremost, like you've probably experienced this yourself with the psilocybin, is that it's not a drug, right? It's medicine.
Yeah, 100%.
And the way, especially if you go into Peru, into the Amazon, there's very much the indigenous people. They honour that. Yeah, they really honour that. So if you say like drugs, they say no, drogo, medicina, and they remind you all the time. So there's a lot of respect, and I've done it in a place that was incredibly considered and detailed. But I had like a mad breakthrough after the second ceremony. You know, I was terrified. I'd done a lot of psilocybin, like mushrooms and stuff, recreationally as a youngster. So I was aware about that, you know, opening other doors and dimensions and parts of your brain and that.
Yeah.
But I was very terrified because of the stuff I'd read about ayahuasca, and I was like, this is going to be life changing. And I think there's a comfortable part of us we want to hang on to because it's the known, isn't it?
Yes.
And all of a sudden there's this uncharted part of yourself, and you're sort of like, what am I going to lose here? Who's going to go? Who's dying today? You know, there's a part of you got to leave behind, and that's fucking terrifying. So the first ceremony, I was like shaky. You go up to the altar, and I was like where the shaman is, and I was shaking, and I was like, please don't give me a big cup, you know. And you have to put an intention into the ayahuasca, right?
Yeah. So
I was like, okay, please go gentle with me. You know, I'm scared and I'm anxious, and please just be very gentle with me. And that first ceremony, it was like a very gentle introduction to ayahuasca. But afterwards, I was a bit pissed off. I was like, oh, I should have had more courage and just gone fucking swag. The next ceremony, now I've swaggered into the fucking. Now I'm like game face on. Oh, I'm gonna go for it. So same thing again. I'm sitting there, and I've got this shot of ayahuasca, and I'm just looking at this into this shot, and my intention is, Mother Ayahuasca, do your worst, get it all out. And did she? Fucking hell, mate. You know, I thought I'd died. You know, I was pretty convinced that I died. You know, and just
but it's like a little death.
It is a little
and
death,
then a rebirth.
It is a little death, yeah. And I had the usual, like you know, when you have the sort of geometric stuff start to happen, you know that you're starting to get into that channel and that frequency, and then it just got tougher and tougher and harder and more aggressive.
Yes.
To the point I couldn't hang on. I was like they put you on these like little seats, yeah, and I was like, it's a spaceship, yeah. You're in like a little spaceship, and I was just free falling through whatever it was. And then all of a sudden I started to get, like, I was screaming. Yeah? I don't know if I was actually screaming, but I was screaming inside myself. I was sobbing and fucking purging. Everything was coming out. And then I had this, I felt like, although I was still there in the Maloka, I was in a haunted house, like a derelict hotel somewhere. And I don't know what I was doing, but I was running through doors and I was opening doors and like cupboards and fucking, I'm searching for something and searching. It was like one of those mad old cartoons where everything just started getting more and more smaller, and I was now creeping on my all fours, like trying to find this. What I was
suffocating.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, I've opened this, like, it was like a trapdoor, right? And I've opened it, and there's me as a kid, like feral, going like a feral child, me, terrified. And so now I'm like, as an adult, I'm trying to comfort my inner child, like in this story that's created, this film.
Yes. That's your inner integration and child integration.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like, I grabbed hold of him, and then I realised while I was in this story, I was holding myself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I get goosebumps, dude.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I was absolutely sobbing, and I cried like I'd never cried before. And I believe, you know, life's always going to be a journey of discovery, and it's always new layers of understanding and healing. But this was heavy. This was like a paramount, a poignant part of getting that root out of myself. And I just started to feel free again. And like, wow, something, it was healed then, you know, something was
This
really
is too
healed.
much. The parallels are too much. You're freaking me out. You really are freaking me out.
There's no coincidence, mate. Doc, there's no coincidence.
So basically, so I didn't take ayahuasca, but I went up before Josh came, and we had to meet, like, not the shamans, but the space holders. And they're all three of them. They're like, Josh is giving you a very big dose. And I'm like,
Josh knows.
And I'm like, oh, and they're like, are you happy with that? I was like, well, I don't know what normal is. I mean, it's quite a lot. And have you had any drug experience? I was like, no, I've had nothing. You've had nothing. And I'm like, oh shit. Then suddenly, like, because I went there with like no expectations. I was like, I'm coming as a doctor, as a scientist. I'm going to observe and I'm going to document what my experience was like.
Out the mind, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like, it was so arrogant. And I'm listening to other people, right? And I'm like, why are you here? I'm like, oh, I've got drug addiction. I've this and that. And I'm like, oh, well, you're fucked. And what's your problem? I'm like, well, I've just broken up, abusive relationships and blah, blah. I'm like, well, you're fucked. And then this one's alcohol and blah, blah. I'm like, you're fucked. I'm like, man, all these people are fucked up. Maybe they're going to be okay afterwards. I'm all right. I'm good. My life is good. Maybe I'll end up being fucked up. Like, maybe the reverse will happen to me. I'm like, so and then I'm thinking, well, I'm going to get fucked up by this. I'm going to change. It's going to change my personality. I'm going to become a drug addict. So I'm like having all this, fuck, what have I done? And now they're telling me I'm getting this huge dose. And then this calm went through me. And I went, do you know what? Josh knows me. If he thinks this is what I need, let's just do it. And they all went, that's good. It's good. Do it. And like you, I went for the geometric shapes, trans-dimension, time, dilated, contracted. Felt like 10 years in this 7-hour state. Went for ego death, and that was painful. And love saved me, and I came and resurfaced with love. Then I was pulled back down into the depths of despair and ego and questioning and self-doubting. Then I freed myself, and these cycles went on, and it got to a point where I was like, just really tired.
It's exhausting.
And, I was sweating, and I was like, oh, I'm dehydrated. I need to drink. And I sat up in this state and went, can I have some water? And everybody's really weird. Like, they don't look like humans. They're blurred and geometric Lego shapes and everything. And someone gave me a bottle of water. Shout out to Rowan or Josh, can't remember which one, but gave me a water. I was like, oh, I can't feel this water, like, bottle. Strange. I put it to my mouth. I went, there's nothing there. And then I went, oh, I could feel the crackling of the plastic bottle. I went, oh, I feel it now. I went, that's strange. And as I gave the water bottle back, I felt the cool water go down. So everything was delayed.
Yeah.
And then just, I was like, dude, can we stop now? Can we just turn the lights and stop the music, stop everything. I'm ready. And he just looked at me and went, you're not ready yet. Just relax and just submit. And I just fell back. And I was just so tired. And then I was saying how love is everything in my head. Love, Ahmed, love. Remember your children. I was holding on to things that reminded me of my kids. Little soft toys that I brought with me. And then it said, why'd you love your kids? This voice was saying to me, why'd you love your kids so much? I was like, because I love them. They're my everything. I was like, a little bit more than that, don't you think? I was like, no. And it's like, does this remind you? Maybe you're loving your kids like this because of this. And then suddenly I was in this dark space and a light, like a cone of light was shining down. And there's a little boy curled up in a fetal position crying. And it was so lonely and so sad. It broke my heart. And I was like, this is so painful. I'm crying. This person's got no love. And I realized it was my 5-year-old self. Got goosebumps again. And then I had to curl up next to him. And I was like, I curl up next to my little boy who's 6, like this every night. I actually sleep most nights with my boy. He's in a futon at the end of our bed, believe it or not.
Yeah,
co-sleep.
Same.
And because he used to always say in the middle of the night, Daddy, Daddy, hold my hand. So I would crawl into bed, hold his hand. And now I just sleep with him. My wife is like, are you ever going to sleep with me? I'm like, it's just my little baby boy. And I was like holding myself the way I hold my baby boy. And I was crying because I could sense his loneliness and sadness. My parents used to fight like cats and dogs as kids, like really horrible domestic abuse.
Yeah, same.
And I would be watching from above at the stairs, and I was crying myself. I felt lonely. I felt unloved. I thought maybe it's my fault.
You've got siblings?
Yeah. And it was just painful, and it brought back. So I held him and I said, it's okay, baby boy. And I was like, this is why I'm so hard on myself. This is why I think I'm never good enough. This is why I'm so tough, on myself. And I was like, it's okay, Ahmed, let it go. You are loved. You are loved. And I started telling my younger self, you are loved. And I cried so much. And the crying of pain and sorrow and loneliness changed to crying of happiness, to it's okay, I'm whole now, because the child melded into me. And for the first time in my fucking 49 years, Danny, I felt whole. Now, if that fucking plant medicine isn't the most beautiful healing thing ever, I don't know what is, because people tell me, oh, it's fucking drugs and you're promoting drugs. No. We've all got trauma. I went in there thinking, I'm all right. I'm the man. And you know what? I came out. It was fucking beautiful, Danny.
Yeah.
That was my experience.
Stunning, man.
And it's
like, parallel, isn't it?
Right?
Yeah.
How freaking mind-boggling is that? And so this is why I want to do it. This is why I want to hold the space. And when you said you went to Peru, I've heard things can go well and things can't go well. I've heard it depends on who's around you, the people, the intention. And I want to give it the respect it's due. I want to combine it with some health stuff as well, and bring in people who are experts in trauma. So I had a podcast with someone called Meredith Miller, who does all this trauma work. She's just beautiful. She was talking about how one of the problems, Ahmed, is, there's a lot of injustice. I think you mentioned it, a lot of injustice in this world. And the negativity, that demonic force creates the injustice, that's one. But it perpetuates it because you're like, I need the justice, and being in that angry state, in that combat state, they keep winning.
It's replication.
And I'm not saying like we shouldn't defeat them and fight them. I'm not saying that. Like we should. But you almost have to make peace with the trauma and the injustice. Otherwise, you just end up being a victim and they still have that control over you. It's a second round of injustice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's it in a nutshell. And that's kind of like, if you want to say like the awakened or the enlightened or the truther, like part of us that comes to the surface, it's like it gets its strength from us dealing with our shit first. By owning it, understanding it, forgiving it, allowing it a space to heal, to accept it. And then we're 10 times more powerful at what we put out. Our output is coming from that space of love. You have to learn to love yourself first, don't you?
Yeah.
And like then all of that
When did you start loving yourself?
I'm still working on it.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
43.
Great.
Yeah.
Still a young man.
Yeah.
Very young man.
Yeah. I'm starting to love myself a little bit more today, though.
Good.
I think that is such it's like, I believe so many times in our lives we meet the people that we need the reflection of, and we hit that reflection and it really awakens and it ignites a part of us that is perhaps needs some attention, some focus. And I feel like what you just said then was like I was talking to myself through you, you know.
This is part of the integration work. So
Yeah.
one of the things that Josh was telling me and Naima is that after the plant medicine, don't think that it's done its work. The work carries on for weeks and months, and you've worked on. Do you know what I mean? That's where you get the benefit of it. And the people who just take it and think, right, I'm fixed now, that's not how it works. Like, it's the beginning of the process. It's showed you the way, and you have to follow it through. And yeah, like maybe that's the point of us chatting and talking together. Like, it's taken a while to get to this point, and like we've had a few dates where we've had to rearrange, and everything happens for a reason.
Perfectly aligned as always. Divine timing. But I have such faith in it. I really do.
So in terms of loving yourself, I don't think I really truly loved myself till I got to about 37, 38. I'll be honest with you. I was in a relationship for many years. I was in, a few relationships, and I didn't love myself. And the thing is, if you don't love yourself, how can you receive love? And how can you give love?
Yeah, we're there.
And the problem that I see is there's a lot of people who have unresolved trauma who don't love themselves. They end up having children. They end up being in relationships. They don't really love their kids properly. They don't love their partners. Then you just perpetuate that cycle of trauma. And I think in life, you can either carry on that trauma and it gets worse and worse, or you go, no, you know what? It stops with me. And, I'm going to stop it now. And I agree with you in the sense that we give our power to the evil people, and we are also traumatized. We're also damaged. The evil people are actually, in some respects, a mirror of us. Like, unless we collectively heal and reclaim our sovereignty and our power and our responsibility, we're never going to defeat them, because they've just gone into that space where they go, oh, great, we're gonna abuse these people. But that's because we are in that state where they can abuse us. If we were really powerful, sovereign beings, they would not be able to do that to us.
And the first step is about how we feel about ourselves, isn't it? It's our self-worth. Because if you instill that in people, and like if you look at the entire fucking system, every facet of our modern society is designed to take away that self-worth, to disempower us, to make us feel insignificant, to always look for external governance. It's never about looking in. So as soon as people start to feel good about themselves and have self-worth, they're not listening to that shit. They can't be governed, because there's sort of that governance comes from within. So it's all of a sudden that is the answer. The answer is to build strong people.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult. I think there's a wonderful quote by someone, I can't remember. It says it's much easier to build strong children than it is to fix broken adults.
Yes.
So of course now we can do it with our kids and it's a little bit easier, but we're also, one of the things that our project is doing is trying to help people, like grown-ups, like to get through their trauma and to arrive at that station of sort of like complete self-determination, like all the time. And every single part of your life is like you are relying on you. Like there is no one out there who's got the answers for you. It's you. It's always you. Everything comes back to you. And that's not from an ego point of view, because when you get into the real you, that's the collective consciousness. That's the part of all of us.
What do you think collective consciousness is? Because I've heard about this recently, and I've experienced it, and I'll share what I mean by that in a second. But what do you make of collective consciousness?
I feel it's the truest part of us, which is love. Really, it's love. Like if we get into the core of us, if I would say like my light inside of me, not my vessel, not my mind, but the light, the infinite part of me, the constant, the continuum, it's always there, the consistentness, like it's the thing that's always there all the time. To me, that is my light, and that is your light, and that's everyone's light. And to me, that is the collective consciousness. And I think that is the collective awareness or collective observance. Like consciousness sometimes I think gets misguided because people always put it back to the mind, but it's got nothing to do with the mind. It's the universal wisdom, the universal mind almost.
Yeah. Can I just quickly look? On Joe Rogan, there was a podcast guest, Campbell something, recently, which was fascinating. I mean, I don't know if I agree. Thomas Campbell, he's a physicist and a consciousness researcher.
Oh, yeah?
And what he was saying was, imagine God is like this consciousness mainframe computer. And what he did was, to try and experience life and whatever, he created subcomputers within his mainframe and subconsciousnesses, which are us. And, we are, autonomous and we are acting, but we're part of that bigger mainframe computer. Like you can, even in your desktop computer, you can create a subcomputer in that. Like you can do that, and it's working its own, it's running its own program, but it's part of the original computer. You can do that. And it's like, that's what consciousness is. And it's funny. So in my trance state with the plant medicine, I found myself suspended looking at the cosmos, the universe, this existence, and it was black. And then I saw this frequency of consciousness, and it was humming and vibrating, that sound, and I felt pure love. And I didn't know about this. It's not the right. It's of a deeper vibration. I didn't know about this thing, right? Sound or whatever. And
Mani Padme Hum.
Yeah, going into it, I didn't know anything about it. But here I was witnessing it and listening to it and seeing it. You could see sound. And I created that voice, and sound in my head. And a little yellow flickery line came next to it. And I was like, wow, I feel love. I'm so close to that original conscious harmony. And then I got it just right. And I was scared for a bit because I thought I was going to disappear into this greater consciousness. But as I got enveloped in this greater consciousness, I still retained my individuality. But I became part of a greater whole. And I felt I came home to God. And it was so beautiful. So I was washed with love and joy and at one. And it was like, this is what our natural state is. Yeah. There is no pain. There is no anger. There is no jealousy. There are no negative feelings in this sublime state. And I just think, is that what God is? Is that God? God is this consciousness. And we, when Jesus talked about God is within us and I am the Father, maybe what he was saying is that we are all part of God. God is within us. We are part of the consciousness. And we've all just been subdivided and we all think we're this meat suit when actually this meat suit is literally just a meat suit and it's a vessel. And this is the consciousness, the spiritual eternal being. It's quite magical.
It is, yeah. But if you think of like nothing in our lives, especially in our childhood, and to take education, traditional education, nothing is ever spoken about that. There's no.
But that's because you're a taxpayer.
There's no emphasis whatsoever, is it? Like we're in this, and we talked about it in the car earlier. Is that from our birth certificate, our birth registration, we are then put into this slave system. And we stay in that caste until we can do something about it. And then for me, it's like the more we can build upon that feeling of self-love and self-worth, then you start to embody that. And then we can, this feeling like we're talking about, like we still have to go through the wide human spectrum of emotion. That's just the way it is. But there's that feeling that we know, that we know we're part of something. And is when you talk to someone, a lot of the time you talk to people who are very academic and have got a very sort of strong cognitive approach to life. They find that very difficult because it is about faith, isn't it, at the end of the day? Faith is like the strongest thing in the universe, to just have this faith that there's something that and you can't prove it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you start saying, well, yeah, it was because I took ayahuasca. And they go, oh, did you? Yeah, oh, right, okay, then. And then it's all completely diluted. And then you're like a madman and just like they give you the old, oh, all right. Yeah, like the old crazy eyes.
Yeah. It's funny. Exactly. I had this chat with a friend who's an orthopedic surgeon. He's not been on the podcast. And he said, what's up? And what's the latest? I'm like, oh, yeah, I took some, psilocybin plant medicine. And he was like, oh, yeah, you're going to become a druggie next? And it was just like, it's just, exactly what you're just saying. And I was like, oh, for goodness sake, dude, it's such a beautiful thing that you've just belittled. But I don't get angry at it. I just, you have to show empathy and love. Like, you just think, you are ignorant. You have actually no idea what I'm talking about or what I experience. I actually feel sorry at that point because I was like, maybe this person will never, ever experience. They're in this physical, hard reality. They're chasing money. They are. Material things. Big car, big house.
Status.
Yeah, and spiritually, I hate to say this, but they're kind of dead.
Well,
I see a lot of these people, spiritually, they're dead.
Especially since the pandemic as well, and that whole vaccine, if you want to call it that technology. I mean, there's a lot of research that looks into that being something that is actually fucking around with our genetic code.
It is,
And if our God, whatever that is, divine source, whatever, has created that genetic code, and these bastards are playing around with it, then I think a lot of the people who have taken it are probably a little bit more less likely to be able to grasp that godliness that's within them. So that's, to me, that's so sad, you know. And I don't think that's not me saying that they're all fucked, yeah? Because I do believe that love can counteract anything, any kind of poison, any kind of stuff that we feel is negative. I think love can transmute that. I truly believe it. It just makes it a little bit more of an uphill battle.
100%. I love the fact you keep saying love is the answer. I agree, 100%. It really is. It doesn't mean that we're all wishy-washy and we're not fighters and rebel fighters and, you know, not fighting against the slave masters. You know, it's not like we're just like compliant. But I think you're right. From a spiritual level, love is the answer. You know, but looking at the jabs. So I had someone called Michael Niels on, Dr. Michael Niels, and he talks about the indoctrinated brain. You're talking about lots of different things, but one of the things was spike protein goes in the brain. It's neuroinflammatory, so it inflames the brain. The LNP, the lipid nanoparticles, they cross the blood-brain barrier. These people have got a lot of neurological problems, cognitive problems, Alzheimer's, schizophrenia. Add on to that, you've got the SSRIs, messing around with the dopamine and whatever in your brain.
And the nanotech as well.
And the nanotech, the emotional blunting then you get. Then add on to that, you know, what else have they got? The SSRIs, they've got statins.
Yeah.
And the statins, they get rid of the cholesterol, which is the sheath around the neurons. So all these people are literally, their minds are being destroyed. You know, so, you know, this brain fog.
And transhumanist, isn't it?
Yeah, the anger that you see, the psychological problems. People are really suffering now because of all the crap that they're being thrown at them. Yeah. It's kind of sad.
It is sad. And you think about, like, again, it's by design, isn't it? If you kill that wonderful, wonderful, powerful thing that we've got, the human brain, and they kill it, then they replace it with AI. And that's what's going to happen, isn't it? It's that's the plan, is to put a neuralink chip in people's heads, and then they are full-blown robots.
Yeah.
Cyborgs. Well, we're living in Terminator fucking 2.
Yeah.
And I'm John O'Connor.
I'm just a shorter version and a bolder version. But like, yeah. The indoctrination is bad, and the assimilation, and it comes back to what you said about God. So God, I think the creator, the consciousness, whatever you want to call it, everything that's natural is from that. Okay. So like, nature, food, whatever, that's all natural. Everything that's man-made is the opposite of God, basically. And they want to adulterate all of that, which is natural and good, and make it, you know, their stamp on it. And it's hard, like, because like some things we want, like this microphone's artificial, natural, man-made. The video cameras, the internet. I mean, so there's some good stuff there, but there's a lot that I'm worried about, and especially the jabs, the drugs. They just think humans are flawed, that we're just, you know, defective, and that we need to be optimized. And that's strictly not true. You know, that is just ridiculous.
A load of bollocks.
I know. I was speaking to a guy called Robin Kelly about this. And have you ever heard of something called the Fibonacci numbers?
Yeah.
So like, if you look at that and you keep looking at the numbers and you plot graphs and curves, you get this spiral curve, and you get this thing called the golden ratio. And he was like, look up nature, and guess what?
Everything.
It's in everything.
Yeah, my tattoo, the flower of life.
There you go.
It's there. It's an absolutely. It's God's particle, isn't it? It's there by design. It's us.
So you know how you've got that stamped on your forearm?
Yeah.
I think that Fibonacci number, the golden ratio, everything is basically, you know, like on the back of things you see made in China or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like God saying made by God.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, whether it's a sunflower or whether it's you
or me
or cow, like it's in us. Our cells, our blood vessels, everything has got these ratios. Like it's almost like there in plain sight, but it's not, if that makes sense. Because once you start looking, you're like, what the fuck?
That's not an accident.
That's not an accident. Like, that's everything. No. Like that's like God playing a joke, saying, kind of telling you, like, none of this is like, you didn't come out of this primordial soup by accident, like, oh, it just happened. Yeah. No, I created.
That's a load of bollocks, isn't it, as well? The whole evolution theory.
I think it is.
It's all those like monkeys that are like still evolving. Where's like the half humans?
Right.
Where the fuck are they?
Why are we
Why
not
we
seeing
never seen
anything?
them?
Why are we not seeing anything in an evolution state right now?
No, nothing.
With all the smartphones around, surely someone's caught something. Right?
Yeah. There's people not taking the Central Line, they're swinging to work. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't believe in evolution either.
No. I mean, everything we've been told is a lie. Like, literally. Like, everything about our diet, like they tell us that we shouldn't, like red meat's bad for us. It's absolutely brilliant. And of course, listen, you have to source the best meat you can, and we want animals to be looked after. But I believe there's real honour in raising and rearing animals, and then having the courage to be able to take their life to be able to sustain your own. You know, I think that's perfectly within a lion's not sitting there going like, I'm fucking starving, but that antelope, I can't eat him because it's not fair on him. He's just going to eat him out of this primal need. You know?
Do you want to hear something funny?
What?
So I came across this article, and it really resonated with me that prey need predators. Prey want healthy predators because the prey know that the best of them will survive, and they need the predators to mop up the sick and the shit. And actually, sometimes, you know,
we're starting to look at Bill Gates with a new perspective now.
But you see what I mean? Like prey are like, we need healthy predators. Like, we don't want the predators to die out. Because if we don't, there'll be too many of us. We eat out all the resources. You'll have lame and sick ones around. It just, you know, you want that balance, and that's what we've got. And that's, you know, and if I had one day the dream is to have a homestead and I'll have goats and chickens, I like to do that and, you know, and slaughter it and, you know, and honor the meat, the animal, make sure it's had a great life. But the thing is, like, the idea that in nature horrible stuff isn't happening and animals aren't getting chewed and bitten, like, that's happening every day. Like, a cow that's been fed on a pasture and lived a long life for it and then is slaughtered and eaten. That's a good life.
Yeah.
The cow went to heaven.
You should see my cat as well. He's an absolute psychopath, but he's just playing. He just literally gets everything, like beautiful birds he pulls out of the trees and he just tosses them around for ages.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just like no one, like, nature is not innocent of that feeling, of that need to whatever it's doing.
Yeah, you saw one of my cats. I've got two, and we've got bells around them now.
Yeah,
because dude,
yes, as well.
It was too much. It was too. But even with the bell, he brought in 2 birds in one day, and I was like, "What? He must have found a nest."
Yeah,
and it's like, "Come on." And they're so sweet. They sit on my lap, they purr, and then they go out and rip a mouse to shreds, and then bring it home and say, "Look, Daddy, I got a mouse for you." I'm like, "Great."
But that's a lovely balance right there, isn't it? To have that.
Yeah.
And just going back to what you said earlier is one of the things. Like, I think by design, and we have to look at a lot of things are by design, is that if you think about the way that love has been put out into the world, it's all sort of like lovey-dovey, and if you're sort of someone who promotes love, then you're seen as sort of like a peaceful hippie, when actually love is that fierce drive in you. That's the passion. Yeah. That's the stuff that you would go over the trenches for and defend your family and your fucking people, you know, without a care in the world. And that, to me, is real
bingo.
Love. That's real love. That's the stuff we need to hold on to. You know, so that's what I try to say to people. Listen, don't get it twisted. You know, like this type of love is the love that is going to protect us. The love that is survivalist. You know, it's not sitting there with banging drums and waving Palo Santo around and pretending that you're connected to love. It's the stuff that drives us.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And I love that. Thank you. This is what it's all about: having fire in your belly and caring, and having passion for life. But the problem is, I see so many people in the world today who are lacking that, and they're in that trance state. And it's like, I feel like shaking them and just wake up.
Shaking them? Stick a fucking hammer over them if they need it.
You know what I mean?
There's no meaning, is there? Everyone's lost meaning. That's what we need to try to gift people back, you know. And it's people like us, it's spokespeople who have got the bollocks to be able to stand up and say the stuff that no one wants to say. And to say, listen, what we're doing, this 9 to 5 shit, mate, that they've still got us believing in, and getting pissed on a weekend and watching the football for our kicks and stuff. That's all a fucking lie.
It's funny thing is, 100%. But you know, when you say like people like us, I don't particularly feel brave. I just feel like I'm just doing what's right.
Oh, come on, Doc. Come on.
No, seriously.
What you said to me a minute ago, you know, you just walked, like, how many doctors walk away from what they're, from that kind of, you know, like, that's a high-end orthopedic surgeon, right? That's like up there, isn't it? In the hierarchical scale of a doctor. It's not like you as a midwife. You know, you're a proper full-blown doctor on, I would imagine it would have been a very nice wage.
Yes,
and you just walk away from that because because it doesn't make sense to you anymore. That's proper Braveheart shit, mate. Don't ever forget that.
But I don't feel it. Just feel like that's what I had to do.
Yeah, but that's the Braveheart shit. It's just something in you that you can't agree with anymore. You know, this takes a lot of courage to be able to do that.
Coming back to trauma, do you know what? It's my childhood that made me be able to do that stuff. Mm. You know, I just had so much injustice when I was younger and saw so much wrong and suffered. I got to a point where in my 20s, I was like scrappy. Like I was fighting all the time with everybody.
Me too.
Mate, I was just fucking fighting with everybody. Like, and the doctors, like, they're all like, oh, hello. And then I come along and go, and they were just like, they weren't really prepared. I remember when I went to a hospital in London, King's College Hospital. Yeah. I was working there and, you know, they're all like, and I come along like, aye, all right.
All right, Paul.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right, mate. All right, wee man. Yeah. You know, someone like you, taller than me, I'd be like, aye, all right, wee man. And I was like, I got a nickname. My consultants would call me Scrappy. I'd be like, why you call me Scrappy? Like, they were like, did you ever watch Scooby-Doo? I went, yeah. That little wee dog, that little, that's you, Ahmad. And I'd be like, really? They were like, yeah. Like, yeah. Because, like, you know, you had to scrap to get to operate and assist. And there's a pecking order. And I'm like, oh, fuck that shit. I want to do it.
And a lot of nepotism as well.
Nepotism, 100%.
Yeah, that's a horrible thing, that is, mate.
Are you playing golf today?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in the film industry, I experienced that massively. Like, no one I know in the film industry reached the level that I've reached that comes with my background.
Really?
Nah.
That's like me.
And the way
so you're not in the Masons. You're not playing golf. You're not funny handshakes. You're not your dad's mate and blah blah blah. You've grafted and worked hard to get to the top.
Yeah, and I never censored myself or changed myself. I used to swear, and people used to say to me, "You do swear a lot." I say, well, I don't care.
That's another thing. That's another thing we've got in common.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't give a fuck. Do you know what I say to people all the time? Right? I say that I care more than anyone you're ever going to meet, and yet I don't give a fuck.
Hi, me again. You're listening to the Doc Malik podcast. This show is 100% independent and fully funded by listeners like yourself. So if you wish to support Ahmed in all that he is doing, then please subscribe to his channel on Spotify or on his Substack, or simply buy him a coffee with one of the donation links which can be found at docmalik.com. Now, let's get back to the show.
I get that.
That's the paradoxical way that I think that is like you're walking like, in between the chaos and order.
So tell me what it was like in the film industry and how you got to the top. What was it like? Was it very lot of nepotism? A lot of we went to the same boarding school, whatever. What was it like?
Yeah, I mean, like I started off doing security. Yeah, so like security is the sort of like the working class lads. They're the only ones I could ever talk to, even though I climbed the ladder. They were the guys like everyone else would be sitting down to lunch. He goes, "What did you do at the weekend then, Giles?" and I'd be sitting there thinking, "Fucking hell!" So I'd get my lunch and I'd go outside and stand in the rain with the security boys and just have a proper like a normal chat.
Yeah,
have a laugh, a bit of banter, you know. And for me, it was sort of like I was always. They used to say I was unconventional. That was the nice way of criticising me. He's saying you're so unconventional, and I used to say, "Oh, yeah, and like what? We're all meant to be the fucking same, are we?"
Yes.
I was going back like because I've been on. I had my awakening. 9/11's my birthday, right? And so
oh shit!
I'll tell you a little funny story actually. My old man bought I think it was a Daily Mail, and it was wrapped in a plastic sleeve on December the 12th, and it said on the front page, September the 11th, the day the world changed, and he gave it to me. He went, "Ain't that the fucking truth?"
I love that.
And then probably, I think I was in Thailand 2 or 3 years later, and I watched a thing called Loose Change, which was the sort of breakdown of 9/11 being an inside job.
I had never seen that.
And that was, to me, that was like, oh, because it goes not just through, it's just not just talking about 9/11, it's talking about how the monetary system and the financial system and all of that was involved.
That reminds me of the movie Zeitgeist.
Exactly. And that's the next one I watched.
Right.
So then I was like, okay, right. So that now this is it, you know, they're all fucking playing us.
Yeah.
And so I took that energy into every facet of my life, you know. I couldn't switch that off. It wasn't like, oh, right, I'm in the film industry now, I better keep that down, or I'm an actor and I'm on set with all these people and I've got to keep that down. I'd be standing at the tea table going, they're all fucking nonsense. You know? And there'd be people go, what do you mean they're all nonsense? We go, listen, mate, like Jimmy Savile, you know, was best friends with Prince Charles and fucking Margaret Thatcher, and you're telling me Special Branch didn't know that he had keys to hospitals, he was a necrophiliac and fucking child trafficker. Come on.
100%.
You have to be fucking retarded not to put that together.
I'm trying to find you something. 100%. Dude, 100%. So basically, When I first went into med school, I was working as a phlebotomist, which is like right at the bottom. It's not even a nurse.
Botomist.
Phlebotomist.
A phlebotomist. I was going to say.
Yeah, I went around looking at people's bottoms. A botomist.
A great job.
Yeah, you got a flat bottom, you got a flabby bottom. No, phlebotomist, like taking blood from people.
Oh yeah.
So I was doing that as a weekend job, right, to make money.
Vampire.
Yeah. And it was really interesting. So I've worked in the markets, I've worked in the shoe shop, I worked in a residential home, I worked in a bowling alley. I've worked so many freaking jobs, right? So I'm now working as a phlebotomist, taking blood from people. And the way I thought doctors then used to take blood, so it's a good training thing for me. And so I would go on the weekend, and I couldn't believe the hierarchy. And what I mean by that is the nurses would totally blank me. I'd be like, good morning. They wouldn't even bother saying hello to me. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's what it's like. Like, I thought the doctors were arrogant. Wow, even the nurses are. And I was just chatting with the healthcare assistants and the cleaners. And they'd be like, oh, hello, son, what are you doing? And blah, blah, blah. And I'm chatting. And then it's funny that when the nurses would find out I'm a medical student, they'd be like, oh, hello. And I was like, wow, there's all this stupid BS, hierarchy. Like, who gives a fuck if I'm a medical student?
Yeah.
And nothing's changed.
No.
I'm still Ahmad Malik, and I'm still the phlebotomist. Like, now you say good morning to me. Now I'm worthy of being spoken to. Like, what the fuck? Like, and as a nurse, then how can you complain about doctors being arrogant or everything when you on your level are kind of like being arrogant to like the healthcare assistants, or do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, everyone's got their little wee pecking order, and so I've never been that kind of guy. I would get what you got called like, oh, you're very different, aren't you? Like, everybody would always be like, oh, I've never met a doctor like you before. Or, I've never met a surgeon like you before. Oh, I never met a consultant like you before. You're very normal.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, what do you fucking
What
want?
do you want?
What do you want me to be? Like,
give me a script. That's what I used to say to people. You write it down and I'll say it.
Yeah. Well, I think what they wanted was, hello, yes, I'm Jeffrey. So take a seat. And what is your problem? And then just totally fucking ignore you, be an absolute dick. Yeah, right, okay, bye-bye. Like, that's not me.
No. But the funny thing for me was, right, is because I used to work with a lot of celebrities, like household names, yeah? And it was always, because I was so real around them, there was no airs and graces. Like, I used to work with Gordon Ramsay for a lot, right? And like, he's an absolute knobhead, as you can imagine. But like, everyone was like, Gordon's here, everyone would go backs against the wall, and hello, Gordon, morning, Gordon, would you like a coffee? And I used to go, you all right, Gordon? And I'd have a proper conversation with him, and he used to take the piss out of me, and I used to take the piss out of him back. And he warmed to me. And then the people in all of the higher people who ran the companies and stuff, they always come and talk to me because there was something real, there's something authentic. I'm not trying to be like, lick your ass. I don't give a fuck. I'm not.
Yeah.
To me, that's something, it's what we're missing in this world, isn't it?
This is what we're missing. I wanted to show you something, but I can't. But basically, I don't have the reception now. But basically, it's a video of me mopping the floor in theatres. And it was to show you that's what I was like. So I might be the consultant.
But whilst you was a consultant?
Yeah. I'll show it to you afterwards. Yeah. As a consultant, I would be mopping the floor. So when all Jeffreys and Nigels and everybody else was fucking in the coffee room drinking and talking about golf and God knows what the fuck else, I would never go to the coffee room. I would stay in theatre. I would mop the floor. I would move the operating table. I'd position the lights. I'd get the X-ray machine. I'd sometimes go and do the porter job because it'd be like, oh, there's no porter. So I'd go and get the patient from the ward and bring them in. And I was just doing the job of everyone else. And that way I was very efficient. I got a lot of work done. I got a lot of respect from the theatre staff. And you know what? And then the managers came up to me and went, oh, we're going to be doing an investigation because you're leaving work early every single time. And I was like, what do you mean? Well, we can see that you're leaving your list 20 minutes early every day. And I'm like, so how many operations am I doing in the year? They were like, 762. I was like, what about the other foot and ankle surgeon? 350. I was like, so I'm doing double what the other guy's doing. Why are you not having a chat with him? Well, he finishes on time. I went, no, hold on, I don't understand that. So I'm getting double the amount done and I'm leaving 20 minutes early. Yeah, but your theatre utilization isn't 100% and his is. He can't help it if he's slow. I went, no, maybe he's fucking sitting in the coffee room and chit-chatting all day and he's dragging his feet and, he just leaves on time. I fucking worked hard and done double the cases. If I leave 15, 20 minutes early, big deal. I was just, they fucking don't get it.
That's the thing, innit? Computer says no.
Fucking computer says no. Yeah. I mean, it's madness.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no ability for critical analysis, and that, if you think, that's why something like the pandemic was so easily played out, because everyone's lost, they're bereft of that fucking ability to think for themselves, to actually go, hold on a minute here, what a load of bollocks, you got to wear a mask for a respiratory fucking illness, are you having a laugh? That was the first thing. I was like, you fucking joking, mate? What, you've got to be joking.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, like, back to what you were saying about, like, you talked to Gordon Ramsay as just like a normal guy. So when I first posted that video of me with mopping, like, I was saying, I actually said, look, no one is above me and no one is below me. No job is beneath me and no job is above me. Like, I just come to everyone very, like, leveled. And the problem is, I found this quite a lot in Pakistani culture, and now I'm going to get a lot of hate from Pakistanis.
Oh no, can I leave?
Oh man, I'm going to get so much hate. But it's, honestly, it's kind of true. And I think maybe there's a bit of it in this culture where you can tell me, like, when you meet another person, like, especially in Pakistani culture, it's kind of like this sizing you up, like, all right, like, what job do you do? Like, what car are you driving? And so if you're like someone big that they think, you know, a lot of money, a lot of prestige, a lot of worth, they will suck up to you, right? Because they think, right, I can get something off this guy. Or if they think you're beneath them, they'll be like, well, I don't need anything. I treat this person like shit. What they never do is, like, come to you man to man, eye to eye, equal. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And that really used to fucking piss me off.
Yeah, me too. In the film industry, one of the things they used to do all the time is used to go, where do you live? Because they want your postcode.
Size you up. Do you know what I mean?
They want your postcode. Or they say, well, what do you like, if you meet someone at a party or something, what do you do for a living? And I used to say, I don't get caught. That's what I used to say, and they go like that. They try to put, what the fuck does that mean? You know? They just think, oh, I'm in charge now, all right?
I love it. Yeah, when I was in Australia doing a fellowship for 6 months, I didn't have any friends out there. I was barely no mates. Because at the age of like 35, right, everyone's got friends and family, and like, you pitch up fucking going through a divorce, you don't know anyone. You're a bit lonely, right? Yeah. And one of my mates, one of the work guys goes, like, you should go speed dating. Like, don't date, just meet other people. I was like, that's a fucking great idea. Like, there'll be a bunch of guys there that are wanting to meet someone. There'll be some girls that, you know, I'm not attracted to, they're not attracted, but maybe they're cool people. Yeah. So I'm doing the speed dating thing, right? And first thing the girls all ask is like, so what you do? Right? And I thought, if I say I'm an orthopedic surgeon, you're going to get someone who just wants to be with you because you're a doctor and blah. So I kid you not, right? I was thinking, like, all the taxi drivers in Sydney are Asian, Indian, Pakistani, right? It's like, I'm a taxi driver. I swear to God, yeah. I would literally have the girls just look at their watch, go, how many fucking minutes left? Oh, fuck, shit. Yeah. I've got 5 fucking minutes left to talk to this taxi driver that I don't want to. And I would literally have them go, like, look at the sky and like this and like that. And I'd be like, well, you're a fucking waste of space. And then honestly, like, about 20% would be like, oh, that's great. Oh, wow, I've never met a taxi driver. Like, so what's your job like?
That's my old man was a black cab driver.
And there you go. And I was like, oh, fuck, what am I going to talk about taxis now? I was like, no, let's not talk about that. You know, let's talk about something else. But we would just start talking. And I met a whole bunch of guys and girls who I got on well with, who were just, they didn't give a fuck whether I was a taxi driver or not. So yeah, that's...
The thing is like, you know, this is like, we're saying that all of these, maybe, I don't like to label them, but negative experiences with mankind, with the human species, but there is so many beautiful people on the planet, right? There's so many people like us who see that, they want to look people in the eye and feel the fabric of their being, as opposed to like, who gives a fuck what car you drive? You know, I couldn't give a less what car you drive. I don't care. Like, none of that matters to me at all. It's about, I always say character is currency. Yeah, that's the thing for me. I try to always remind myself that people's character is the currency, the real value.
Well, I need to give a shout out to Ian McDermott. He's my friend. He did a podcast with me, 2 Peas in a Pod. A wake surgeon, believe it or not. Vocal as well on Twitter and X, and says things. Been in trouble a few times. He's a really good guy. And he's got me into shooting, so I'm into practical shooting. I'm in a firearms club, and mate, it is so much fun. So much shotguns and, you know, a semi-automatic rifle. Who knew you could do that shit here, right? So I'm into that. I mean, on the drive, one of the best things about going to the shoots is he picks me up on the way. Yeah. So we just have guide time, like, you know, and I think there's a lot to be said about that. Just an hour in the car with your mate, just talking shit. And I was saying, like, how I'm going to get a new car, right? And he went, oh, right. Better not be a sports car. I went, well, what's wrong with a sports car? He went, narcissistic wankers drive sports cars. I was like, well, you're glad to know it's a 63 reg Galaxy Ford. It's like that's the ultimate opposite of what a sports car would be.
Perfect.
Right. And it's because they've got family, it's an old car, it runs. The current one's just falling to bits. It's secondhand, it's cheap. That's all I care about.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to be driving a big fancy sports car. And I'm saying this, like, if say this show takes off, I'm the next Joe Rogan, right? I'm making millions. You will see me dead in a sports car. It's a selfish car. It's just I'm not that kind of guy.
Yeah, and again, I think that comes back to our self-worth again, isn't it? It's because if you've got that real richness inside of yourself, you don't require any of that external richness. Like I always say to people that, like, if I make a hell of a lot of money, you would never know.
Yes.
All it would mean is I'm just going to carry on doing what I'm doing and helping people. That's all I want to do. I want to help the world get through this fucking grave transition. And then, like, the money, to me, I just feel it's on the way. I really do feel like we're going to be supported by the universe, like all of us. Anyone who's out there doing the stuff that needs to be done.
I think so too.
Yeah, I can feel it.
I'm feeling very positive.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Like, really, like, very positive, like, excited, very excited. I'm like, oh my God, it's coming.
And you know what? Strange things are happening.
Mm.
Like, so I'm not rich, but.
Oh, you are?
No, and monetary wise.
Yeah.
But just things happen. So I've got this guy who loves my podcast who's got a sauna company.
Mm.
And he's giving me an offer I can't refuse. So I'm going to have a sauna here now.
So next time I come down, we can do it in the sauna.
It's going to be freaking awesome.
That sounded a bit wrong.
Sauna and a cold plunge barrel thing.
Oh, lovely.
It's going to be sweet.
Lovely.
My roof is getting repaired. The cost is half of what I originally thought it was going to be. The guys come back and said, no, it's going to be cheaper than what I originally told you. And the money has magically appeared. Some people have donated to me, and I just want to say thanks to them. There's a guy called Dale in particular. Just reached out and went, mate, I want to help you out. Surgeon to surgeon. You've got the balls that I don't, and I fucking love you. I want to help you out. What the hell?
Yep.
Like, the universe is amazing.
Yep.
You're talking about equipment, like these stands. Richard, Merriam, shout out to him. He's like, Doc, I want to help you out. This £5 Substack a month is not worth it. Like, you're worth more than that shit.
Yeah.
What equipment do you need? I went, no, not much. Like, my cameras, they could be, there's something wrong with them. He went, I'll pay. What you want? I went, I don't want to waste your money. Maybe there's something I don't know about the cameras and they could just be adjusted. Okay, leave it with me. He sent a kid down from Manchester, stayed the night in Wickham, fixed my cameras, got me different. So it ended up being a fraction of the cost of replacing the cameras. And I said to him, just because you're giving me your money, I don't want to waste it. I'm treating it like my own money.
Absolutely.
I want to see if I can just fix it first rather than just replace it with new cameras. And he did it. And then he comes back and goes, that wasn't enough. Can I do anything more? Is it nothing you need? I went, no, not really. Oh, actually, I do need some proper tripod type stands. He went, right, tell me how much, how many. And I told him, he went, right, it's been delivered on my, what the hell? That's the universe providing, isn't it?
That's the magic right there.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that's the thing, abundance finds us, doesn't it? It's when we're acting out of that truest part of ourselves with no agenda. I don't...
Oh, come on, you're selling supplements, aren't you?
No.
I'm joking.
Not yet. Give me 10 seconds before we go to a little break. When I was an actor, right?
Not even a beard grooming oil or anything?
Well,
some hair products?
So if someone's out there who's got loads and loads of money wants to send me some fucking beard grooming oil. When I was an actor, I wanted to be famous, right? When I was a youngster, I was really I went to like drama school and stuff, and I was like really, really wanted to be like famous. I loved acting as well, loved the craft.
Why did you want to be famous?
Because of that part of me wanted to be seen and recognised that wasn't being recognised by me. So I wanted other people to see me and to recognise
that
me.
Child.
Yeah, exactly. That child again.
Wanted love and self-worth.
Yeah, exactly. And so when I first had a Twitter account, like going back years and years and years, I wanted loads of followers. And I was like, how do I get loads of followers? And now, I'd never been on social media apart from that small window on Twitter. Never been on Facebook, never been on Instagram. And then all of a sudden the pandemic happened. And I was like, do you know what? Someone needs to fucking say something about this, because I was just watching zombies walk around everywhere with masks. I was like, this is not cool. And where I lived at the time in Belgium, yeah, it was the first fucking city in the whole of Europe to mandate face covers in public. So not even in the shops, like walking down the high street. And I'm like, no fucking way. So I'm like the only dude in this entire town, yeah, going into the shops. So I was sometimes to the shop, in the shop, and back home again. I was having 5, 6 fucking like arguments, like passionate arguments with people, and then the police. You know, the police were on me as well.
Oh wow! Did you get fined and get into trouble or anything?
No, I had a doctor that I had a conversation with. Like, it was a very, very one of us, you know, on our page, and I said to him, "Listen, it's either you give me a fucking certificate to tell me that I ain't got to wear a mask because I can't carry on like this." I said, "Otherwise, I'm going to get nicked." I said, "And I'm going to end up fucking. I'll be in prison." I said, "Because there's nothing. I can't keep taking this. Sooner or later, I'm going to go."
Yes.
So he just went, yeah, no worries. And he gave me this thing. So I was just walking around going, in their faces, fucking read that. Because they can't touch it. They can't touch it then, can they?
No.
And I don't want to...
So there are workarounds. This is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but the thing is that, like, the workaround, like, to me, that's like a last resort, isn't it? And my situation was quite, like, different. Because when I came back to London...
Yeah.
There was no mandate, was there? It was like it was a choice, wasn't it? Even when you went in shops, there was no one could tell you had to. They would say, "Sir, could you put on?" You say, "No, I don't have to. I'm exempt," and you didn't have to prove that.
Although, you just reminded me of something. Denny has got something called the Vaccine Control Group, and you can join and member, and they produce you these wonderful cards that say that you're part of a controlled group, and you are. It's a legit thing, and you're not allowed to be vaccinated.
Yeah,
and you're exempt from things. And actually, I need to get my finger out my arse and actually sign up my whole family. She said, get on with it, Ahmad. I have just not done it yet.
Yeah.
But that is something that I think everyone should do, because you never know, next time they might come around again and say, you need the jab, a flu jab, a bird flu jab, or fucking God knows what else.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going away, but I feel that if we act out of that space of like we're like, nah, sorry, this don't work for me. Like the power of no, like a real no that comes out of you, is guttural.
Yes.
I don't think no one even questions that,
100%.
Like, I'm not available for that. Sorry.
But you remember at the time it felt like they're forcing us. No one actually put a gun to our head. No. And now if you look, they all come out and say, "Oh, but we didn't force you. We didn't force you. Like we don't, we just said you need to do this."
It was psychological coercion, wasn't it?
It was
on another level. That is the gun. That is the smoking gun, wasn't it? It was the coercion of like, and then the thing is like the society. Everyone's policing themselves. Everyone doesn't want to be the black sheep. Whereas I've always been the black sheep. I've never wanted to be with anyone, even as a kid.
Do you not find that it kills your soul when you like you don't say what you want to say, when you don't say your truth? Like you're at work and you're just staying quiet to get along and not cause any trouble. I think that eats you up. And somewhere it either internalizes and make you sick, or it comes out in some other thing, addictions or whatever. Like, I think there's too many people who are living a lie, is what I'm trying to say. They're living a lie at work about their boss, about their colleagues, about what they do. They're living a lie about they're happy. They're living a lie that they're in a great relationship. They're living a lie that their kids are happy. They're living a lie that they're just fucking living a lie.
Delusion.
That it was safe and effective. Oh yeah, it was safe and effective. They're living a fucking lie.
Yeah.
It just eats them up.
Yeah. But this is the thing, is that like what you said about the people who are supporting you, and I feel that it's because our voice and the way that we conduct ourselves and what we're saying, the message we're putting out, which is all about self-empowerment, it's all about self-governance, that there's a lot of people I find, and I've got a quite a large account, the same as you, and I find there's a lot of well-known people, a lot of celebrities, a lot of people who've got massive, bigger accounts than I have, and they're silenced still.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, like maybe they're like, it's like financially that they can't rock the boat or whatever, and they're used to their life and they're not able to be that voice of the resistance that I am. And so, like, I think that's why it's such an important role we play, because we haven't got, I've got no conditions. We say to people, no one's right telling me what to say. You must have gathered that by now. I'm just saying what comes out. It's not, there's no fucking script here.
That's what I love about you, because you are completely authentic and honest and true. And
thank you.
No, but that's a big thing, because there's a lot of people in the space, I don't want to call it any other thing, who are very prominent, but I don't know how authentic and real they are, and they're pushing things by certain companies, like promoting the idea of a pandemic, promoting that fear porn, and you just think, nah. And the people that I like who come on my show are the ones who are just completely honest, unfiltered, authentic. You can't sit in here for 90 minutes, 2 hours, and not just be yourself. Like, if you're on a script, like, you figured them out very quickly.
Yeah, it's transparent, isn't it? And the thing is, as well, is another flip side to that, because you've got a lot of the truthers out there And a lot of them are selling the opium, aren't they? Which is another way to get, like they're all like the white hats and Donald Trump.
Oh, don't start.
like that. What does that lead to? Oh, now you're peddling ivermectin. All right, so viruses are now real to you, are they? I thought when we were back in the pandemic, there wasn't such things as viruses, and we all believed in terrain theory. But now you want to peddle ivermectin. Now you want to jump on the opium bandwagon. It's like, fuck off, You're either for sale or you're not for sale.
I'm going to show you something. So, FYI.
Sorry, I got a little bit worked up there, Doc.
It's all right. FYI, I don't believe there was a pandemic. There was a pandemic.
Yeah.
I don't really know what it was, whether it was poison or 5G. EMF. I don't know. Toxin. I just don't know. Could be a combination of all of them.
All of it. Yeah, there's lots of factors, isn't there?
But there's something. Am I 100% no virus? I'm probably 80% there. I'm terrain and germ, but more terrain.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that to me, like, I just don't know. Even that's a bit of a psyop. I just want to show you something else that I think you'll find fascinating. This is legit. Don't mention the name, by the way. So I get a message not so long ago. Look, from Thursday the 9th of Jan. This is what I mean by how you can sell yourself at.
Is this the bottom message?
Yeah, so it's from the 3rd of Jan. So this person's got a huge account on X, quite massive. Dude,
fuck yeah.
How much money is that they're offering me?
20 large.
20k for a single post.
Geez, I love that. I love you even more now.
And what was that response?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Fuck you. I mean, I really wanted to say fuck you.
I love the way you haven't even replied after that as well. She sent loads more messages and you just haven't even replied.
I was like, fucking.
I love that, Doc.
No, fuck that shit.
That's your real, mate. You're real.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Yeah, definitely.
Fuck that shit. You want me to fucking push drugs and pills? Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not interested.
And listen, you're the same as me, yeah? Like, because we spoke about it. Like,
and don't get me wrong, that would really help me out.
Yes.
Like, it's not like, you've seen my house, right? It's fucking tiny, 2.5 bedroom cottage. It's very cute. I've still got a massive mortgage. I could do with that kind of money.
Yeah.
But I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah, mate, listen, I live in a yurt. Yeah? With me and my fucking missus, 3 mad kids, a fucking mad dog, and a fucking psychopath murderer cat in a 5.5 diameter yurt, right? So I could, I could really use with like if I wanted to go that route and start censoring myself and start scripting things and selling things, then I'm sure I could bring in money because I've got.
Do you think that money comes with no strings attached?
No, you should fucking cut your bollocks off for that, mate.
Isn't it? What do you think happens? One post, 20k, second post, 20k. What do you think's going to come after? Oh, Ahmad, we didn't like that. Ahmad, can you not talk about that? Ahmad, can you push this? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Then you're a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. So you're back on your knees again, aren't you?
Right.
So for me, it's not. I had, again, I'm not going to mention any names, but I had some people who were incredibly wealthy, yeah, like seriously wealthy and very well known in the public eye. I'll tell you when we're having lunch later.
Yeah.
And they asked me for sort of like treatments and stuff and like what I was doing. I said, like, we've got a podcast coming, we've got fucking our own news bulletin, we've got a children's animation, like all of this stuff is all about self-empowerment and stuff, but I really need some support to start getting I've got 10 people working in my team, yeah, on our project, and they're all volunteers, right? All of them. They all do it, like they've all got day jobs and they all give whatever they can, extra time because they believe in what we're doing, right? And this money that these people are kicking around would change everything for us. It would make sure that we can just focus completely and not have to worry about bills and food and fucking petrol and all the other things you've got to buy, kids' shoes and all the other stuff, right? And the way that they conducted themselves, I called them out, yeah? And they no one has ever spoken to these people like that before. And I just said, listen, the way you're treating me is disrespectful, yeah? I don't want your money. All right, I need to be treated with mutual respect. I said, you don't even reply to me. I said, at the beginning, you're all like, oh, we want to help you, want to support you in this and sending us stuff. And as soon as like I got into what we really needed, and there was no sort of mutual respect there, and I'm like, I can't handle that. I don't give a fuck how much money it is. It doesn't bother me.
That's
I can't
character.
live like that.
Exactly.
Character is currency.
This is it. This is what's the point of, like you said, like, walking away from your great job in the film industry, me walking away from orthopedics, having the character to do the right thing, and then just fucking sell our soul to the devil. Yeah. Fuck that shit. Like, and what I think is funny is, like, do these people actually think, like, that's going to work?
I don't know.
Like, really?
Yeah,
are you fucking stupid?
Agent Smiths, aren't they? That's what they are. They'll come in, they find another route to get you, the fucking Agent Smiths. Because I say it sometimes. I want to test them and say, listen, try me. Offer me $1 billion. Like, really, offer me $1 billion. I am not for sale for all the money in the world.
What does it say on my cap?
Uncaptured.
Fuck yeah, man.
You and me both, brother.
And I think that comes back to true wealth. So, you know, you've got that yurt with your fucking mad dog and, you know, murdering cat and your kids. And I got 3 kids and oh, fuck, man, it's hard work. Yeah. But we're wealthy in love. Oh. Dude, and it's funny that trip that I went on, I'm just not scared anymore. Like, I'm not scared of death at all. Because I died in that trip and I know what's out there. And this existence is just a temporary blip in our, and I had this really powerful dream the other day. I was on this coach, you know, these big coaches and like the driver slightly to the bottom. And like I was at the front with my friend, Rachel Brown. Shout out to her. She's a consultant psychiatrist, totally amazing, awake. And we'd been somewhere, we'd been to some conference in this dream of mine, and we're driving, and I'm like, wow, look at these fucking mountains. Where you live is amazing. I've never seen anything like this. It's like totally out of the world kind of thing. Yeah, obviously, because it's in my dream. And then the coach ran off the road. I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck? And he's like missing the boulders on the side of the road. I'm like, fuck. And then there's this boulder the size of a house. And he suddenly stops swerving and just starts to accelerate deadpan for the boulder. And I'm like, at our current fucking trajectory, we're going to be dead in 20 seconds. Fuck me. Everyone's screaming on the coach. And I went, oh, I'm not scared. Do you know what? It's just death. It's fine. And I closed my eyes and I was in peace. And I literally count down to like 1, 0, and I opened my eyes. And the coach was now 100 meters away and had just braked in time. And everyone's screaming. And I went, oh, wow. We didn't die. Yeah. And then this voice said to me, because you're not scared to die, you're going to carry on living. Yeah. I was like, whoa. And I woke up then. It was the middle of the night. My little boy's lying there on top of me. I'm like, well, that was a fucking weird dream. But I think there was something in it. Like, don't be scared of dying.
Yeah,
like,
it just reminds me of that quote by Eckhart Tolle, you know, The Power of Now.
Yeah.
He says, if you can die before you die, you realise there's no such thing as death.
Yes.
And that's it in a nutshell, isn't it?
That's it.
Yeah. Because the part of us that we're like
holding on to
is not real. It's not us. It's about like trying to realise what is us. You know, what are we really? This divine physical expression of fucking God. You know?
That's it.
So what can we do with that?
Exactly.
That's the thing. Now we've arrived at that station, what can we do individually and collectively? Let's change the fucking world.
Can you imagine like after we die, like we check out, right? And it's like, so, you know, there's a scoreboard, like a computer game. And it's like, you know, you come out and it's like, ding, 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 ding. And it's like 1 million points. And like, everyone's like, whoa, Danny, you fucking aced that game. You fucking legend. And other people come out like, you know, the scum of the earth, like 0. And everybody's like, oh, you fucked up, dude. You need to go back. You need to fucking go back. You're like, oh, shit. And it's like, yeah, that's what that got you. I mean, who knows what the fuck the reality is. But I think it's kind of like that. Like, you know, this is a test.
You do know though, Doc.
Yeah.
You know the way that you're living now. You're living out of that most truthful part. You know you know what that is. You know, there's no denying that. You know, that's just it. That's the real stuff, you know. And I know that scares people. Because we've got so much programming in ourselves, so many patterns of how we're meant to behave. And to break out of that is like terrifying for people, like really terrifying. If I told you the amount of people face to face I've spoken to and they've said about the chemtrails and the vaccines and that, and then you look at their Instagram pages and there's nothing on there about that. And you say, well, you are socially imprisoned, you know, because you can't break out of that feeling of like, oh, what will people think? I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. You know, I really don't. And that if we all arrive at that place, then we all start to express ourselves in the most individual, true way that we all can. And that is unique. We are like one, but there's a unique part of us, isn't it? I believe my divine part of me is unique, and as is yours. But together we make up the whole, a beautiful, poetic, profound puzzle.
100%. That's beautiful. I love that. And the thing is, like, you're making me realize, 100%, like when people don't talk about chemtrails or this, I did a podcast recently about the Pakistani grooming gangs. You know, I realize it's not just Pakistani grooming gangs. There's white grooming gangs, there's brown grooming gangs, black grooming, Jewish grooming gangs, Catholic. It's everywhere. Pakistanis aren't any special, any worse. No. Just like Jews aren't any worse. Like people say, oh, the Jews are ruling. Everyone's the same. Humanity is the same wherever you fucking look, right? Most people are too scared to speak out. Most people are scared to call out their tribe. Most people, whether it's doctors or Pakistani, they don't want to say anything. They want to keep their head down. And the reality is, and the number of doctors I meet, they go, oh yeah, the vaccines are a problem. And they're like, why are you saying about it? No, I can't afford to, I've got a mortgage and kids. I'm like, yeah.
Golf membership.
Yeah, I've got a mortgage and kids too, and, whatever. And everyone is scared to speak up and actually do the right thing and speak the truth. Can you imagine if all of humanity did the right thing?
Yeah.
What a different world it would be.
Yeah.
But the reality is everybody stays quiet. No one ever speaks out. No one is brave enough to walk that solo path. We're too herd-like and we want to conform. And we need to break out of that. And that comes from self-empowerment. So if the world was populated with lots of Dannies and Doc Maliks, can you imagine what a great planet it would be? It's not selfish. It's not horrible. That's true individualism. So right now, I think one of the big things we're facing is something called communitarianism. You ever heard of that? You know about it?
Yeah. Go over it, though.
So basically, it is very important. So communism is basically just the same as capitalism, but just two sides of the same coin. Yeah. It's operated by the same global...
Fascism, it's all the same.
Yeah, same global mafia cabal, right? Where there's a central bank, the elite rule everything, and everyone else is a servant and slave. And in the capitalist system, you think you're not, but you really are. There's no difference. It's just slight differences in how it's run. Communitarianism is like a melding of fascism, technocracy, and communism. It's like saying to you that, your individual rights are really important, Danny, but actually there's a get out clause. If for the greater good, we need to shut you up, you need to shut up.
Yeah.
If for the greater good, you need a jab, you need to take the fucking jab. Personal bodily autonomy is totally important. Yeah, 100% get that. Yeah, we accept you've got that right. But clause 3C, D1, whatever, for the greater good, though, that has to be voided. It's always about the community. It's always about greater good.
Yeah.
Stripping away your individuality, your individual inalienable rights. Communitarianism doesn't believe in that. It doesn't believe that you've got individual inalienable rights. The community trumps that. And what they use is technocracy to enact it, and things like stakeholder capitalism. So these are all basically ways of enacting communism. So communitarianism is essentially fascism, communism, technocracy, all wrapped up a control grid mechanism where a ruling small elite predator class enslave the rest of humanity
and drive it through.
That's what it is.
Through community.
Drive it because you're doing good.
That's how they get everyone.
Are you not a member of the community? Don't you want to look after the welfare of the community? Don't you want to be a good person? It's always sponged and said in a way that is good. It's always couched in a way that's like you're doing good when actually they're fucking you over.
Yeah. And I think about someone like my mum, right? And my mum is she is such a beautiful woman. I would say only her and my wife, and there's something in this, are the people that I've met who they always see the best in people. Always, I'm not like that. I'm quite easy to go, he's a cunt, and she's always seeing the best in everyone.
That's my wife. And you know what? I used to get annoyed by that initially. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know, but it's actually quite beautiful.
I know.
And my mum, she wants to act out of that place when anything is so she believes in this stuff because she's buying into it, but she's doing it from such a real humanitarian space. So you can see how that's how they've got people. Because real community is what we want. We want interdependence, We want to have little supported local villages where we're all looking after each other and we're all acting as a real community. We just don't want all of a sudden everyone to go, right, well, there's 90% of us say we're going to cut off our left foot, so you've got to cut your left foot off as well now. It's just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Exactly.
I like my left foot,
Exactly. This is why I'm not even a fan of democracy, of tyranny of the minority or tyranny of the majority. I don't want any fucking tyranny. I just want to be left the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Leave me the fuck alone. First, do no harm, and two, take no shit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
If everybody just lived life like that, it would be nice. But yeah, there's all these isms, feminism, communism, fascism, communitarianism. All of these are just a psyop. The simplest way of living is just don't mess with me. We don't really need that many rules and laws and regulations.
We've all got a moral compass, haven't we?
We do. And I think the only time you think that you don't is when actually you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
So like my mum would say to me, when she was still, religious, why have you walked away from this cult that I was in? Why have you walked away from the religion? Blah, blah, blah. How are your children going to grow up and be good people? And I was like, they don't need religion.
No.
Like they will know, and I'll teach them, and they will know themselves. Like it's in this all. And now like, they don't go to the mosque. They don't. I'm not Muslim, not an Ahmadi. I'm not none of that shit. But I believe in the Maker, the consciousness, the God, the Creator, whatever. And I said to my mum, like, so what do you think of the kids then? Right? They're really deviant and messed up, aren't they? She went, "You've got the bestest kids. They're amazing." I went, "Well, isn't that funny? Ain't that funny?"
My mum says the same.
Really?
Yeah, and not from a religious perspective, but in the sense that, like everyone was worried that we were saying like when our kids ain't getting vaccinated, kids ain't going to school. Our kids are going to be brought up by us.
Are your kids homeschooled?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And so if you think of like how about stepping away from how it's done or how it's been done, it puts sort of like a real fear in not just my mum and dad, but my missus. Her dad was a head teacher in a school, so he really spent his whole life as a teacher. He believed in that, and it was really. Like there was arguments and debates and passionate debates about why we're doing this and stuff. And now the proof is in the pudding. My girls, that they speak 2 languages fluently. They're so confident. They're so gentle. They're so compassionate.
I'm going to pick your brain about that over lunch because 2 of my kids, I've been talking to them just yesterday about pulling them out of school next year.
I'll do it. Do it, mate.
Yeah.
Do it.
All right.
It's the thing.
Well, I'll talk to you about the practicalities of all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, seriously.
Practicalities are you're going to go a little bit more grey, a little bit more fucking shaky, a little bit, oh my God, fucking hell, am I going to kill him and end up in a straitjacket? But it's all worth it.
Yeah, they push you. Yeah. You learn from them.
The greatest teachers.
They are the greatest teachers.
Yeah. And now, actually, they've become my greatest therapists as well, which is nice.
But it's like all the best things are things that are hard. Like I say to people, like the plant medicine that I tried. Honestly, when I came home, it was so fucking funny. Like, my wife was like, "You want to go on a magic mushroom trip?" Like, what the fuck? I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Okay, baby." She's like, "Great. Go for it." Like, I'm like, "All right." Like, because we don't drink. We don't take anything, right? And she's like, "What the fuck?" Okay. And then I come home and I lay down in bed next to her and she was like, how was it? I'm like, you just fucking traveled through space and time. You've been away for fucking 10 years, right? Like, you've died and been reborn 100 times. And I said to her, "Baby, I'm really going to struggle to explain to you. It's like me standing at Yosemite, looking at Half Dome and at sunset and the beautiful vista. And you asking me what did it look like? And then I get a bit of soiled toilet paper with a fat crayon and try and replicate the picture of what that view." I said, "It won't do it justice."
Wow, what a wonderful metaphor that is.
Well, that's what I felt.
Yeah.
And she went, "Oh, okay, all right. Can you try?" So I tried to explain it, and I think my podcast in December is the best explanation of what I went through, because it's like an hour and a half me speaking to Josh explaining it.
Yeah.
But I cried with my wife, and she's looking at me like, "What the fuck is wrong with my husband? He's crying like a baby, then he's like laughing like this." And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Okay." And it was like hard. What I was trying to tell her is it's fucking hard. I said, "Baby, it's in a nutshell, it's the hardest thing I've ever fucking done in my life, and also the most beautiful."
Yeah.
But you see that? Like, you had to go through the hardness to get the beauty out of it.
Even still now, right? Even still the decisions and choices we make now, like we look at one and we sort of like, "Oh, that could be easy, that route." Or the other route is the route that's really actually difficult and strenuous. It's 9 times out of 10, that's the right route.
Yeah.
Because like we were just talking about, it'd be easy to peddle brands. Like the amount of times I get notifications from Instagram asking me, "Well, would I like to advertise? Would I like to monetize my account?" I'm like, "Fuck off. Leave me alone. What does that mean?" Do you know what I mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So, but it makes it more difficult, doesn't it? But I feel within that real ability to walk the talk is going to be rewarded. And I don't mean rewarded by trophy or anything like that, but just be by abundance, to be looked after.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
I already feel that.
Yeah.
Like, at the time, over a year ago, I felt like really hard done by. I felt like a bit of a victim, but I was still making choices that was making me go further into the dark difficulty. Does that make sense?
Into the uncomfortable.
Into the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, my mom was like, "You still got one hospital you can work out of. Just develop that practice. Find other hospitals. The GMC's dropped their investigation, or they're not looking. You've got a clean license. Just maybe cut back on the podcast, and you know what? Rebuild your career." And I was like, "Do you know what? I'm actually just going to hand back my license." And she was like, "What? No one's taking it from you. Like, you've got your license and registration."
How powerful that is.
And I was like, actually, you know what? I'm just going to give it away. And like, honestly, people thought I was mental.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, you've been knocked down, right? Just pick yourself up. Like, you've got all the ability to pick yourself up. I was like, you know what? I actually just don't want anything even to do with this. If they want me to shut up, if that's where it's all going to, and they're just going to keep hounding me, I can't. This is more important to me. I love what I'm doing. And you know what? Take it. And I don't actually know anyone out of 300,000 doctors who has voluntarily handed back a clean license.
Wow.
Like, everyone who goes to court, fights in the tribunals, try to hold on to it, get their suspension lifted, get their, whatever reversed. I was like, nah, take it.
Powerful that is, mate.
But you know what? Because I'm working class. Because I've worked in a bowling alley and a phlebotomist and a shoe shop and a market and a fish and chip shop and a kebab shop named after me, Ahmed's Kebab Shop.
Yeah.
In Postle Park, fucking rough. But like, it's just another job.
Yeah.
And I'm a doctor, but I am a healer, and there's so much more to me than just being a surgeon. And it was fucking painful.
It's restrictive, really, isn't it?
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, sometimes I miss it, but as every day goes by, I go, yeah, no. If someone said to me, "Listen, Ahmed, you can have your £150,000 job back. Just shut up and do your job and don't go on social media and don't do any more podcasts." I turn around and go, "Nah, don't want that. Don't want that. It would kill me. It would actually kill me, Danny." So
we're living, aren't we?
Yeah, we've got a lot in common, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Yeah,
it's insane.
It is.
Now I know why I like you on Instagram. Just a more handsome version of me.
Oh, hey, come on.
Right, listen, it's 2024. I said, let's do this for an hour and a half. So we're running out of time because I want to take you for lunch now. We're actually 1 hour, 30 minutes on the dot, but I've got my signature question.
Oof.
Listen, you could be dead next week. You could be on your deathbed. It could be 20 years from now. It could be 100, who knows. But you're on your deathbed. You're surrounded by all your loved ones, your kids. What would you say to them before you meet your maker? What last words of wisdom or advice? What are you going to tell them?
I'm alive.
Okay. Do you want to expand on that just a little bit?
There's no such thing as death. It's just it's a change in form, but there's nothing about us that can die. And the more we do our best to live out of that space, we realise that we are infinite. We are eternal. And the more we believe that, the more we have faith in that, the more of that energy, that divine instruction, that divine light, it comes to us. It comes to the surface, and we become a physical expression of that in our day-to-day lives. So, I feel like everything I say all the time would be my last words, because it's always there. It's always there.
Beautiful. Do you know what I said to my little boy about a month ago? I said to him, "Baby boy, I miss my dad." And he went, "I'm sorry, Daddy."
He's not here then, your dad, no?
No, he died in 2018. And my boy was born the same year. 6 months later. So he's a special one.
So he's your dad?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. And I said to him, "I just want you to know, baby boy, like, when I die, I'm not actually dead. Like, I'm in there inside you. I'm all around you. I will never have left." And he went, "I know, Daddy, I love you so much. You're the best dad in the universe. What more do you want?"
Yeah.
And people say to me, "Aren't you scared? Aren't you scared of dying? Aren't you scared that what they might do to you?" Honestly, truthfully, I'm not. It sounds a bit crazy because I understand what this existence is, and I'm not scared.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, not scared. If I didn't have kids, then I think I would be even more like with the shackles off than I am now. But I think that having young kids especially, they're a little bit of an Achilles heel, because I don't do whatever you want to me. You could torture me. I'm not going to change what I'm saying. I really know that. But kids, that's a different thing. So there's not so much fear about my own death, but I want to get them to a place where they can take care of themselves, because That's my only thing, really, is that's my proudest identity, because we've got to let go of all these identities one day and go back into the void. And my biggest one for me is Papa. You know.
Yes. I get called Dada.
Yeah.
It makes me so happy. Dada. Yeah, that's what I love about you as well. I think the fact that you are such a loving, strong, protective dad. You know, when my kids were going to, preschool and after school club, because I was working, we put them in. Now I look at it and go, what the fuck was I doing that? I'd go, like, if I finished my clinic earlier or operating list earlier, I'd go and pick up, like, my little girl. And the staff would be like, oh, wow, like, are you sure, we've got them for another hour. Don't you want to do something? I was like, no, I want them. I want to take them home. I want to spend time with them. They're like, oh, wow. Oh, we don't get that very often.
Everyone else hates their fucking kids.
Everyone else wants to keep their kids, like, here longer. Like, never, ever had this before. That made me really sad. I feel like a lot of people have kids, like, almost like it's just a tick box. It's like an accessory.
Yeah.
And it's quite nice to come across, like, dads that are loving and protective and strong. It's pretty special. Your kids are lucky.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, my friend, let's wrap up. Yep, let's go. Let's get something to eat. Are you hungry?
I am, yeah. Especially for a bit of steak.
Let's do it, buddy. All right, thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. I, Ahmad Malik, am a private civilian protected by the Geneva Convention. My Substack, social media posts and podcasts are my personal experiences, observations and opinions. This information is for educational purposes only. Although I am a doctor, I am not your doctor and I am not providing medical or legal advice to you or to the wider public. I am not licensed or registered with the GMC or any other licensing board. The responsibility for the interpretation, due diligence and use of the information from my Substack and my podcast lies with you, the viewer and or listener. Please do your research and use your discernment. It is not my intention to harass, intimidate, offend, defame, conspire, blackmail, coerce, or cause anxiety, alarm or distress to any man or woman, and the information presented here is done so with peaceful and honourable intentions. Enjoy, folks.
The kindness there.
Right, guys, this is bonus content. So all you guys who have listened to the outro music, because the outro music is fucking cool. You know the outro music is cool. I fucking listen to the outro music just to listen to it. And then if you get past a disclaimer and you're just hanging on thinking, oh, that was such a great podcast. Oh, I wish it went on forever. You're the fucking hardcore people. I love you guys. This is bonus content with Dear Danny. Danny, Let's fucking go
Yeah,
for
so
it.
listen, what we're talking about, right? This is very, very. We're not going to mention any names because that's not the way we roll.
Yeah,
you know?
we're not negative.
We're not negative, but what we are trying to make sure that everyone understands, right? There is so many frauds out there.
Frauds!
In the truth movement, like proper frauds, yeah? And what they are is, I just said to Doc, right, is what my belief is they want a PR revolution. Right, what they want is to be on the surface and they want to promote a revolution, but it's a very sort of, it's superficial and it's ticking all the boxes and it's branded and it's corporate, and what they don't want real revolution because they're comfortable in their fucking ivory towers and they don't want really to lose all of their riches. They don't want equality. What they want is everyone to be sucking up to them and to be beholden to their agenda, which is to make them even more richer and to put them into let's say the trend, which is now everyone's starting to become truthers. Everyone wants to know the truth. And these people are so toxic.
They're capitalising and exploiting it.
Yeah, they are. They're capitalising and exploiting our movement. Because we can't be bought, yeah? I think you might have just gathered that from if you made it this far, we just had that podcast together. We can't be bought. There's no money in the world that can get me to change the way I speak or the way I feel or what I'm trying to do in this world. And it's the same for the dog. And these other people, they come out of this fucking space where they're completely so privileged, these people. Me and him come from like the same background, yeah? Like working class boys that have seen it all. And we're not interested in riches. We're not interested in like how much stuff you can send us and how we can be a part of your little soirees and drink champagne and eat all your fucking vegan nonsense.
Yeah, and you know what? Exactly. And you know what? I think it's also a little bit even more sinister. Now, I'm not saying everyone, I'm not saying all of them are in this one, but some of them, they're like, let's throw it into the long grass. Let's get all this energy and, you know, people are getting fed up. Let's take that energy and actually take it down a dead end and dissipate it. Do you see what I mean?
Agent Smiths.
They're
fucking Agent Smiths.
So you
mate.
think, or they give the impression that, you know what, support us, we'll fight the fight for you. You don't need to do anything. Yeah. Sit back and let us do the fight, when actually they do fucking nothing.
Nothing.
Fucking nothing.
I've sat with these people over and over again, and in personal, when there's no one recording, and there's a personal conversation, and they are very open, talking about the problem with paedophilia and child trafficking and the chemtrails and the vaccine and all of this stuff. And then you look at any of their social media accounts or any of their output into the world, none of that's mentioned. None of it. So you either walk the talk or you don't. Yeah. You know what I mean? You are saying what needs to be said or you don't. So
you either censor yourself or you don't.
Yeah, so I wonder if what they're trying to do is to pull us all in their contracted little world where we're being paid by them, so they can divert us off to make us less.
But you know what? Oh, who's that?
Heather Norris.
Let's try. So it's not even money sometimes. It's just sometimes social influence. They want to capture you by making you feel like you're part of a group, or you're special, that you're rubbing shoulders with these important people. Yeah. I think there's lots of different ways that they capture you. It's not always financial, by the way.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's kind of like indirect, sometimes and sometimes it is direct. But I don't know about you, but I was invited into all these freedom WhatsApp groups, right? Yeah. And they all just chatted shit. Yeah. They all talked shit. Yeah. And I was like, I don't care what minor B celebrity you are or whatever. I don't give a fuck about it. Like, what the fuck are you actually doing? And they're talking about getting together and having parties and getting pissed and having a birthday party. Like, they weren't actually doing anything. No. And I was like, nah, you know what?
It's all just.
And initially, I was like, oh fuck, shit! Look, there's that person, that person's famous, that. Yeah. I was like, oh wow, there's quite a lot of fucking famous people. But in the end, I left them all. Yeah. Because like, actually, they're all fucking waste of space.
Yeah. The amount of times as well, I've had them say like, we're going to call you back, or we would like you to come along to this, or please send us some more information and get back to us. Like, genuinely, I'm a busy man, right? I've got a lot of stuff going on in my life, but I do my best to respond to people as much as I can.
How hard is it, dude, to fucking respond in a text message? No, and even when someone says to me, oh, I'm sorry, I'm too busy, you know what, honestly, the thought that comes in my head? Cunt. Yeah. You know what, I've got 3 fucking kids, I'm working like a blue arse fly, like crazy person, right? And then you tell me you're too busy? Like, fuck you, I'm busy.
Don't get me wrong, there are people sometimes that like I've not by any like for doing it on purpose, but you end up just not being able to get back to someone. But then my next message is, listen, I'm so sorry. I was really caught up, you know, I was really caught up.
Yeah, I've been guilty of that. I forgot stuff and
So I can understand like it has happened. But these people, they're almost sort of like they act, because I think because they're so privileged and they're in a different world. Can you imagine?
No, but you know what? Psychopaths don't say sorry.
Yeah, well, there
Have
you
you
go.
noticed that? You know,
There you go.
like the ability to say sorry and the ability to say I got it wrong is a big litmus test of how fucking normal you are. And how good you are.
Yeah.
If you can't say I'm sorry, and if you can't say I don't know, then you got a fucking problem.
It's really empowering, actually, to say sorry. You know, because it's a very like beautiful, humble, vulnerable state that we can act out of. And a lot of that is real.
And saying I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I haven't got a clue.
I don't have a fucking clue. I don't have a problem saying that.
No, me neither. But yeah, I do find that has become an issue for our like, I don't want to say a movement because it sounds like we're, you know, like.
There's no fucking movement.
No, but there is a group of people out there who have got the sort of a collective mission, let's say, and we're trying to do something to be able to counteract all of the fucking digital dystopia that we're seeing. But the problem is that there's people who are going to say it how it is, and then there's people who are going to water it down to make sure their brand is not affected.
So someone very big with a huge social media profile, right, goes, oh, Ahmed, there's this gold company I work with, and I'm making a lot of fucking money, because if the average sale is like 50 grand, and you get like a 2-3% commission, you know, it's a lot of money, Ahmed. He goes, I'm making a lot of money, and, you know, do you want to speak to this guy? I was like, oh, well, yeah, sure, I'll have a chat with him. So I started talking to him. He goes, yeah, I'll come on your podcast. I was like, no, I'm not inviting you on my podcast. I'm just asking you, like, what is your product? He goes, yeah, I'll come on the podcast and talk about it. I was like, no, I don't do sales pitches. Type of podcast. Like, it's not. And then he goes, okay, well, this is a deal, blah, blah. I went, look, you know, just checking your name and everything. Just to let you know, I'm kind of critical of what the Israeli government is doing in Gaza. Do you have a problem with that? He goes, yeah, that won't work for me. I went, well, I'm sorry, I can't do business with you. And then he hung up.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it comes back to, like, you know, are you going to censor yourself? Because when you take that money from people, if you think it doesn't come with strings attached, it's nonsense.
Do you know as well? You see there's a little group of people, and every single one of them, they're all sponsored, or they're all getting money off of a certain brand, right?
Yeah.
And it's so cringy because it's all like 15% off. You get 15% off if you use my code. It's like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? Like, you that hard up, you need 15% kickback from a bit of produce. Like, to me, it's just.
No, but they're getting paid a lot of money for it.
Yeah, but what's money?
But percentages.
What's money? Do you know what I mean?
What, for selling your soul to the devil?
Yeah, fuck that, mate. I'd rather be skint. Do you know what? During the beginning of the pandemic, I told people, listen, we can survive on eating dandelion leaves. So how come these bastards, they got nothing on us? Just go walk around, eat the dandelion leaves, and say, I don't need food anymore.
100%. 100%.
That's how far I'm willing to go, Doc.
Do I love it? Yeah, but I think what your experience and my experience has shown is, it's just there's a lot of fake people out there. Danny,
there is.
I was actually so fucking disappointed. I'll give you an example, right? I was saying, you might find this funny, but I used to think orthopedic surgeons were arrogant.
No,
there's another one around the corner. So I used to think orthopedic surgeons were arrogant and fucking toxic and backstabbing and competitive. You know, type A personalities. You know, honestly, orthopedic surgeons are like kids in a kindergarten compared to some of these truther people. You know, the personalities, the egos. Yeah. It's just shocking.
It is, yeah.
And I think
it's so transparent.
The average person, I don't think actually understands though. They're just so like, oh my god, that person's on there, like they're so good, and I'm like,
because their PR is good.
Their PR is
and
good.
The PR is the one. Public relations is so like disingenuous. Well, that just fucking makes me like so cringe, so cringe.
It's fakeness. It's all about.
But it's all going to come out. They can't hide from it because the truth, it takes no victims. It's all going to come out eventually.
This is what I think. It's genuinely what I think. I think at the end of the day, truth will come out, and people will see who is genuine and who is not.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like it's pretty obvious, but like, I think everyone's going to see it because, you know, they're so late on the uptake, innit? The things that we're talking about, when it all becomes so public knowledge, then they'll start talking about it, and that's not like your finger on the pulse, is it?
Do you know what I think one of the most valuable commodities is? Being trusted.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, when everything comes out, like how good position we'll be in?
Yeah.
People will be like, these guys were trustworthy. Yeah. They never fucking took that shit. They never I'm going to try and park on the further end, because it's closer to where we're going. They'll be like, these guys never sold their soul to the devil.
Oh.
Do you know what? That is priceless.
Yeah.
Do you not think so?
Yeah.
Do you want to hear something really fucking funny? I almost got recruited into the Church of Scientology.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, the guy was like, what do you want? What is it you need in life? Like, just, you know, we look after our own. I was like, but are you not a cult? And he goes, like, what would you define as a cult? And I was like, well, you know, like charismatic leadership that you can't question, you know, control of your money and your life and everything that you do, and, you know, you know, all that kind of stuff. And he goes, no, we're not cult. I was like,
Yeah, kind of are.
fucking, yeah, right. But yeah, man, it was just funny. Right, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that bonus content.
We're going to go get some steak.
Yeah, we're off.